Kelly and Drew Howard.
And welcome into the Weekend Sitting here this morning live. That's right, on KineticHiFi.com in the KineticHiFi.com studios this morning. It's 9 a.m., May 24th. This perfect Saturday morning here in Charleston, South Carolina. And, of course, with me, as always, in the KineticHiFi.com studios, Drew Howard.
Yeah, what went on in here last night? This is a little crazy. Brad, Boyd, if you guys are listening, man, what happened in here? What did we miss?
Evidently, it was a party.
Must have been. Come
in here, and the microphones are all over the place. I figured out what was going on. My headphones were plugged into the computer. That's why I was behind.
Explains what was behind.
Yeah, so...
Now if we can only figure out how to get Google Chrome to play audio today.
So that makes sense. So anyway, KineticHiFi.com studios this morning, and what a week it has been. We now know Congress, Drew, is trying to basically destroy the First Amendment completely by amending the Constitution. We've got Fed's warning of food price jump. Yeah, no kidding. I don't know if them finally admitting to this is... I don't know how ridiculous it is because, the whole Bundy situation brought this all to light, that we're going to see a massive rise in beef prices.
Well, yeah, we've already been talking about beef prices are at an all-time high, pork prices are at an all-time high, and it's because we're shutting down small farmers.
That's
we're putting in all of this big agriculture, big Monsanto, and it's hurting our economy. It's hurting our ability to produce food, not just viable food that's nutrient-rich, that's sustainable, but actual food that we can produce to eat.
That's right. And so we'll get into that today. Along with that, though, a lot of this has to do with legislation. I think it's very ironic that we see Obama coming out saying that it's the structural design of Congress that's causing his gridlock.
Well, this is no different than Eric Holder saying he only has problems because people are racist and they don't like Obama because of that. We saw another congressman this week come out and say, look, if you don't like Obamacare, it's just because you're racist. Admit it. And yeah, that's what we keep seeing is if you have any problem with the Obama agenda, which is the New World Order, Agenda 21, that's being pushed down our throat, then you are racist.
The interesting thing, though, is that Obama really hasn't been gridlocked because anytime Congress has not let something through, he's just, pushed through an executive order, which we saw earlier in the week. Did you see one of the Obama White House aides came out? I don't remember who it was. We'll have to pull up the article. And said, expect a lot more executive orders this year. We're going to get stuff done, especially about climate change.
I did see that.
Which there's a bunch about that as well, with Obama going to Chicago and saying that the winter there makes it hard to sell climate change. Which I there you go. And also, most of this situation with the VA is just exploding in the media. Nancy Pelosi now saying blame Bush because that's always the default for the Democrats now. They've gotten so big for their britches, I think, that they immediately are just going to say it's Bush's fault if they're ever called out in the media. It's crazy. How can they still say that after all these years of Obama being in office? I understand that, okay, they've got the point of, we shouldn't have gone to war anyway, which I don't even want to go. They're pushing us into more wars now. So anyway, the point is they're saying, we shouldn't have gone into that war, and because of that, there's all these extra veterans. Listen, Obama was warned of this situation. They're saying now as far back in 2005 when they were vetting him, he was informed of the VA medical situation. 2008, he came out and said that the VA was going to be completely revamped so that they would be the leader in healthcare. You remember this?
Yes, yeah. It was the VA was the system we need to look to. This is going to be what's going to lead Obamacare.
Mm-hmm. And did you see this story? We'll get into all this, but they're also coming out now saying that the Al Qaeda terrorists at Guantanamo are treated better than our vets, which, they're going to just continue to bring out these kind of studies because more and more is coming out from the hospital rooms, from the emergency rooms, from the veterans who are having to wait about how many people are dying, how many people are committing suicide. I saw a thing about a guy who first went into the VA with some kind of patch on his forehead. He wasn't sure what it was. It just was a little spot, basically. And turned out it was some kind of a blood disease. But by the time he had finally been scheduled for a doctor visit, it basically spread to his entire body, and it was terminal at that point. I mean, what do you do when the system has gotten that bad, and Congress is just overlooking it completely? So all of this coming out as well. Rick Perry, Ted Cruz battling over Texas. What do you think, Drew, about Rick Perry's sudden interest in, well, I mean, it's not a sudden interest, but of course he's been gaining traction there. Plant? Or,
well, he's establishment. Rick Perry's always been that way. He's been pushing the typical Republican agenda, which is the New World Order agenda as well. Both Democrats and Republicans are pushing the same agenda. So he can't be trusted. He's proven that time and time again. And he's losing ground in Texas because Ted Cruz stands for liberty. Ted Cruz, everything he's done has been constitutional and has been for the people. So definitely I think he's scared because he's losing his political power in Texas.
I like Ted Cruz a lot. He's starting to speak out on a lot of different issues, being pretty hardcore with what he has to say and the statement that he's making. So we'll see what's going on there. But also want to get into today this situation going on the border. We have more and more immigration talks. Of course, we talked last week about how they're saying we need more foreign workers who are skilled laborers because there's not enough in this country, which that's been completely debunked. I mean, people have given up looking for jobs in this country because the job market is so bad. And yet I still see people coming out and defending Obama. I saw a fight on the internet, Facebook, somebody's comment the other day where a guy was saying, well, look, the unemployment numbers have come up since Obama's been in office, and he's done this and he's done that. He's one of these everything is awesome guys. And I just can't help but think, well, listen, these unemployment numbers are completely inflated. I mean, it's not real jobs. They create temporary jobs. They're sending more and more people into the temporary labor market, part-time jobs. I mean, it's a big problem, but yet people still want to credit Obama and blame someone else. So they're trying to bring in more skilled labor, trying to say we need more skilled labor immigrants, trying to justify the fact that the illegal immigrants being allowed amnesty will give us what we need to fill up the job market, which is just completely untrue. But I saw this in USA Today. Sheriffs opt to free suspected undocumented immigrants. And you really can't blame these guys because what's happening is the White House is, of course, coming out in the media saying that they want to allow amnesty. They want to let these guys go. Obama's releasing people with felony records. We saw that earlier in the week. I think 36,000 illegal immigrants were freed, which was the last scandal before the VA scandal started. It's hard to keep up with all these Obama scandals.
Yeah, and I'm really getting sick and tired of the White House saying that they're learning about all of these scandals from the media.
Yeah, what's the deal with that?
And they keep playing that off. Really what it's doing is it's giving more credibility to the lamestream media than they deserve. Every time Carney says that, it says subconsciously to the people, hey, listen to the media, trust the media. Don't listen to the voices telling you to resist the media that they're lying to you.
Which it's unfortunate that so many people will listen to that and not understand that Jay Carney is trying to distract them, trying to keep them from going to the alternative media, which we see the response on Drudge Report, InfoWars, all these alternative media sites has been heightened in the recently, especially because the mainstream media refuses to tell the truth. I think a lot of people are catching on, but it still amazes me to see so many individuals completely brainwashed trying to defend Obama, saying, well, the unemployment numbers have risen since he's been in office, this and that. So you're right. But like I said, county sheriffs, it's coming out of Boulder, Colorado, who run America's jails, are increasingly refusing to honor federal requests to detain suspected undocumented immigrants. Evidently, what's happening is ICE is sending over requests to these county sheriffs that they retain certain individuals for longer periods of times, but they won't actually fill out the documentation. They won't go through the correct processes. So the sheriffs are saying, no, we're going to release them anyway. And it's a series of court decisions has made it clear to sheriffs that the detainers are simply requests and that holding on to people after they finish their sentence or would otherwise be eligible to get bailed out violates the Constitution. He says, I'm not taking a stand on immigration, but I'd like to point out the system is really screwed up, and they're leaving us in a bad position. There needs to be a better way to do business. Everybody is being forced to have their county attorneys to look at this and change their policy. So even the federal system won't follow their own processes.
Well, why should they when you're seeing that Obama's just going to turn around and release, the convicted felons? He's not going to deport anybody. Deportations are at an all-time low right now under him. He's bringing in everybody he can, open borders, like it's a mad rush to get in here.
Well, see, this is my opinion on it. The thing is, they keep on pushing the idea that the system needs to be reformed, that the system is screwed up. You hear that in almost every conversation. There's a one-liner that says immigration system needs to be reformed.
Exactly. And I get that America used to be the best country in the world and people wanted to come here. But instead of welcoming everybody here, why didn't we build up other countries? Why didn't we encourage people to build their own countries?
Well, that
and to create other countries that were reflective,
But for the people coming in, though, could it be possible that the actual fraud is that the immigration system needs to be reformed? It sounds to me like no one actually follows the processes. It sounds like nobody actually goes through the correct channels. It's all fraudulent. And so maybe if we would just follow what's in place, it wouldn't need reforming.
Exactly. That's a big part of it because people don't follow regulations or laws or rules across the board. I think this is something that is going to be an overlaying theme of our 3 hours today that we're here, is going to be this cult of Obama-nality, if you will, here that everybody's in, where it's people don't want to work. You see this reflected in the McDonald's protest that happened again this week, where thousands of people stormed the McDonald's headquarters.
Unbelievable.
For $15 an hour. What about their job suggests that they should be worth $15 an hour when we have nurses out there that only make $10 an hour for cleaning up poop off of people's butts?
But see,
they don't get a glamorous position like the groomer of the stool for the Queen of England that does that. They're out here wiping up people who are in a coma and stuff for $10 an hour. And you're telling me that some idiot at McDonald's that can't get my Egg McMuffin right wants $15 an hour?
Can you see the chain of consequences, though? It starts by shutting down the economy to the extent that it shoves people into part-time jobs, which hyperinflates the unemployment rates to fraudulently give Obama credit.
Well,
people start losing motivation.
That's not even counting the people that have completely given up. We're seeing poll numbers where it's like 45, 50 million people that don't even look for a job anymore because they have no hope of finding a job. They've given up.
Right, so it gives him the fraudulent credit, which he's able to then promote the agenda that you don't need motivation, just get on welfare. So now you have people who expect part-time, minimum wage, high school jobs to be careers. This is what you breed when you use that system.
I saw a Facebook meme this morning that said even if everybody went to college and realized their potential, you'd still need people to make pizzas and drive taxis.
Sure, but maybe the pizzas would be better.
Well, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, then the system's going to work the way it's supposed to work. Yeah, we're still going to need people to make pizzas. You know who's going to do that? High schoolers in their entry-level jobs where it's supposed to be.
That's what
college
it's supposed
students
to be.
working their way through college.
Yeah.
They're going to drive the taxis. They're going to drive the bike rickshaws through downtown Charleston just like they're doing now. You know who's not going to do it? The 52-year-old toothless woman at McDonald's has been there for 30 years because she has no motivation and no skills to do anything else in her life.
That's right. I mean, the high schoolers, the college people, they should have the motivation to want a job to make extra money.
And they're the ones that should be doing the low-income, entry-level jobs. It's where you learn your work skills. It's where you learn your what you can and can't do. It's where you learn who you are by having that first job. I think all of us can look back. We've talked about this, and both of us kind of come from a similar situation with our first job where we both worked with family, so they instilled in us a more rigorous work ethic than a lot of people get. But, we both came from a very similar first job scenario, working in small stores with family, and it really taught us from a young age how to work, how to build that.
Yeah. I mean, 11 years old. My grandmother had a candy shop, and I worked in it. I mean, it's crazy, but you learn to have a work ethic.
You didn't get there on your own. I'm always struck by people who think, well, it must be because I was just so smart. There are a lot of smart people out there.
Not anymore.
It must be because I worked harder than everybody else. Let me tell you something. There are a whole bunch of hard-working people out there.
No, there's not.
Not anymore.
There's 10 million people on welfare.
Try 100.
Disability.
If you were successful, somebody along the line gave you some help. There was a great teacher somewhere in your life. Somebody helped to create this unbelievable American system that we had that allowed you to thrive.
That's right.
Somebody invested in roads and bridges. If you got a business, that you didn't build that.
Preach it, Obama.
Somebody
You didn't
else
build it.
made that happen.
Obama made it for you.
The internet
Let's all
didn't get-
just get on our knees and raise our hands and say Obama gave it to us and he'll give it to us again.
That's coming later. We'll get our net neutrality, fairness doctrine moment of little Stephen praying. Don't worry, that's coming. Now it's all about the cult of Obama.
Hey, we got Hagel saying a new world order is being built.
You think? It's only been being built for 50 years. You're a little late to the party, Chucky.
We got a lot more to go. We'll come back to it.
And Christina's in the chat box this morning.
Good morning. We'll be right back. Weekend Sit and Spin.
Personality, the cult of personality, the cult of personality. Neon light, Nobel Prize, when a mirror speaks, the reflection lies. We won't have to follow.
You're listening to KineticHiFi.com, baby. Thanks for tuning in to KineticHiFi.com. Stay tuned in. Thanks.
If you've thought about life insurance and don't know what to do, call me. If you don't know the difference between whole and term, call me. If you haven't seen your agent in years, don't have one, or just moved to this area, hey, call me. If you want to meet for a cup of coffee and talk about the Super Bowl, call me. Hey, I'm Steve Barksdale with Barksdale Family Insurance. Give me a call at 843-284-6726 or visit me at barksdalefamilyinsurance.com. That's barksdalefamilyinsurance.com.
It's a fact. Nearly 80% of us will have back pain at some point in our lives. And for some of us, it can be debilitating. If you live in the Charleston, South Carolina area and have any kind of back issue, Peninsula Chiropractic is your answer. Peninsula Chiropractic has a reputation built on great customer service and the results most chiropractors can't deliver. One patient and local firefighter says, I have been a patient with Peninsula Chiropractic for nearly 10 years. Dr. Ty and Dr. Rob have treated me with the utmost skill, respect, and kindness as a person and a patient. I feel extremely confident with their skills and have recommended Peninsula Chiropractic to numerous people, not to mention the relaxed atmosphere and genuine caring staff that is Peninsula Chiropractic. Don't spend another day in pain. Call Peninsula Chiropractic today at 843-723-6475. That's 723-6475. Or visit the office, conveniently located within the Sergeant Jasper Building downtown at 310 Broad Street, number 2, Charleston, South Carolina. Yeah, that's right. It's what happens when you cross bad with good. You're listening to KineticHiFi.com. It's Bud.
Yours is yours and mine you leave alone now. Precious declaration says I believe all hope is dead no longer.
I don't care who you are. The 90s were the best era of music.
Yeah, I really hate I missed last year, I think it was, at the Homegrown Show and Collective Soul Open for Hootie the Blowfish. That would have been a killer show to see.
Mark Bryan announced who it was this year. I'm trying to remember. Because you can buy tickets now.
Yeah, tickets are on sale for it. It's coming up in
It was somebody
August.
good. I can't. I'm mad at myself.
I would have loved to have seen Collective Soul with Hootie
that
and
would have been
Blowfish
killer,
last
man.
year. Actually, the first time I saw both of those bands was together at Center City Fest in Charlotte. You remember when they used to do that?
That was a cool
3
little
stages
thing.
set up all around downtown Charlotte.
I got to go to it one time.
Yeah, I got to go to it one year as well, and Hootie and the Blowfish and Collective Soul happened to be playing there that year. And also
awesome.
the Village People.
Really?
Yep. So I guess from our conversation last week, I am racist because, I saw the Village People, and that's been pulled from school boards for being racist.
You really need to think about who you're going to see, Drew, because,
Well, Hump Day camels are racist now. You go ride a camel, you're racist.
That's
I rode
right.
a camel at a fair.
Well, Obama thinks Congress is racist. Let me rephrase.
Well, he thinks the Founding Fathers are racist.
He thinks the Founding Fathers are racist. He may think Congress is racist too. Who knows? But no, I thought this was very interesting, and it really paints a good picture of our dear leader. Washington Times is reporting it.
It's a Dave Boyer article, yeah.
But he's blaming the Founding Fathers' structural design for his gridlock.
Dang those checks and balances that our founders put in.
I know, this is crazy. But that goes to show you that he doesn't want checks and balances. He wants to put his ideas in place, whether they're right or not. And it's amazing what he says. He's actually at a fundraiser here, which was, I noticed, I've started kind of tracking the fundraisers that he's attending. He's going to be in Texas tonight, I think it is. But he was in a employee's house, a CEO's house. Yeah. I don't know if this was it here, talking about global warming.
Yeah.
It was an energy company CEO who is now looking into new solar and wind energy projects. Why is he giving a speech at a CEO's house of Invenergy? That's
why
what
not?
called.
He was at Harvey Weinstein's house giving a speech and a fundraiser not too long ago in Hollywood. I mean, he goes to these people's houses. What's he doing down in Texas? Trying to stop the coke trade? And by that I mean KOCH, those brothers?
He's with He's with Nancy Pelosi doing a fundraiser, $10,000 a plate, $32,000 for a couple. So if you want to attend, it's in Houston. Dallas. I'm sorry, Dallas.
Oh.
But no, anyway, he took a swipe at the Founding Fathers at one of these speeches in Chicago earlier in the week, where he was basically saying, let me give you the quote, "Obviously, the nature of the Senate means that California has the same number of Senate seats as Wyoming. That puts us at a disadvantage," he says.
No, it doesn't, because you have more representatives in the House of Representatives. That's what keeps it equal. That's why there's 2 separate houses. That's why there's 3 branches of government to watch each other and keep each other in check. They're not supposed to be buddy-buddy giving the power to one position.
Exactly. Yeah. He continues, so there are some structural reasons why, despite the fact that Republican ideas are largely rejected by the public, which is not true, it's still hard for us to break through. So even though the Republicans are being rejected by the public, that's because they're crony.
Get there. They claim to guns or religion or antipathy towards people who aren't like them, or a way to explain their frustrations.
Again, he's calling us bitter clingers. He's saying, hey, if you're not in California, if you're not in New York, New England, then you're a bitter clinger, and you don't know what you're talking about. We are the enlightened ones. We are the Harvard elite. We are the global world elite ruling power. Listen to us. Bow before us, because we are soon to be your transhumanism gods.
That's right. I mean, this is unbelievable.
And I don't understand this, how a man that repeatedly lies talks out of his butt. Every speech he says is filled with poo because he's talking out of his butt. I hate to get graphic on you this early on a Saturday morning, but it's the truth. Why do you think flies surround him all the time? Why is he always swatting flies? What are they drawn to? I didn't grow up in the city. I know. I grew up around cows. I know what flies are drawn to, Obama. I see through you.
Well, this is the absolute blatant disregard for public intelligence when he gets up there in front of a group of people, mind you, that are paying him. I mean, this is a fundraiser, and says that, listen, the Republicans' ideas are all being rejected by the public, but we really need to be able to lock it down, or we're not going to be able to make any progress.
Yeah, liberty's really being rejected by the public. I mean, we've seen armed patriots show up ready to die for a man's cattle in Nevada. We've seen governments all across the country at state and municipal levels where things are supposed to be done, where the real power of this country was given, not to a centralized federal government, but state and local governments. We're seeing them reject your tyranny, shut down the BLM, shut down the EPA, because they realize that this Agenda 21 sustainability with air quotes around it is bunk, and all it's leading to is 200 square foot coffin apartments, slavitude, and death.
Well, it's crazy.
It's Foxconn factories. It's suicide nets and forced abortion.
I think it really shows, though, that he would prefer a situation where there was no Congress, which, I mean, he's using more executive powers. It's basically public that that's his idea anyway, that he gets to get in there and make all the legislation himself because the country is just that bad off. The country's bad off now because he's been in office, in my opinion. I mean, Obamacare is destroying the system on record. And now we have the VA thing that he knew about in 2008, made a promise to fix. And you see with all of his other promises, he makes them, and then the exact opposite ends up happening. But I did, in the vein of not having a Congress, I did see this, and I wanted to mention it. Kit Daniels has an article this morning on InfoWars that says there's a tech startup that wants to replace Congress with software. Did you see this?
I saw that, yeah. Let's get our virtual Congress going.
Now, this is serious, though, in terms of what this company is trying to do and what it could do to our future. But the startup is called Place a Vote, and they envision Americans voting on legislation through their software system, and is currently running 2 candidates for Congress. They're actually running digital candidates for Congress, both are they're software engineers who vowed to vote according to the tallies recorded by the system. So they're going to have people vote on their network, and these congressmen that are running are only going to base their opinions off of what the algorithms and the computers spit out as the public opinion.
Yeah, supposedly.
Right.
And who's writing these algorithms? It's going to be probably Siemens again, another German company. And who makes the voting machines? Siemens.
Yeah, he says the Founding Fathers designed a political system that countless others have been based off of. But he says, that being said, if they had access to current technology, don't you think they would use some of it to address the will of the people? I don't think so.
Look, for 13 years, since I started working at Radio Shack 13 years ago, I've been telling people that your laptops, they can turn on the camera remotely. It's in there. If you look at the tech specs, you can see it. I've been telling people they can remotely access your webcams, they can remotely access your cell phones, and listen to you. The NSA is spying on you. It came out. It's on record now. People are starting to believe it. Why would you want to turn this over to another tech company?
Well,
technology can be good, but it has been infiltrated by the most pure forms of evil possible. And we need to eradicate that from it before we can ever hope to using it to our advantage. This utopian society of Tomorrowland we've been sold doesn't exist, and this path we're on isn't going to bring it to us.
Well, and you know why they're doing it, because they actually have said this. It's public. They are, quote-unquote, committed to democracy, which we're not a democracy. You know, we're a constitutional republic, and a democracy is where the larger majority gets to rule. So if they influx the country with a bunch of illegals that don't believe in our values, well,
a democracy's 2 wolves and a sheep voting for what's for dinner.
So that's they want to take that idea to the nth degree by making it a social network. So people who are drunk or smoking or you know just hanging out in their basements or whatever can go vote online on a poll. And then an algorithm's going to spit out what the legislation needs to be.
Let's treat our government like American Idol. That's such a great idea.
Yeah, right.
Here you go. Why not? Because, I mean, Obama's our king. He's our Lord and Savior, as Jamie Foxx says. So I got this for you, Obama. And I know there's no room in Common Core for this kind of education anymore. I know that this isn't what our future needs. But just take a listen, Obama. I think this will explain your job to you and why those nasty, racist, hateful founding fathers kind of made your job a little bit harder.
They'll say it's a fine one, son. Gonna have a 3-ring circus someday. People will come from miles around. Lions, tigers, acrobats, and jugglers and clowns galore.
Analogy may be too hard for him to get.
Walkers, pony riders, elephants, and so much more. Guess I got the idea right here at school. Felt like a fool when they called my name, talking about the government and how it's arranged, divided in 3 like a circus. Ring 1,
is a circus.
To his
Just want to say that.
legislative acts
I think we can
Congress. Ring 3, judiciary. See, it's kinda like my circus. Step right up and visit ring number 1. The show's just begun. Meet the president. I
The
am
lion.
here to see
Lie.
the laws
That's
get
right.
done. The ringmaster of the government. On with the show.
Okay, so he's the ringmaster of the government. Let's put this in your terms, Obama. You're Flavor Flav.
What they do.
You don't actually have any musical talent. You come out on stage and scream a little bit to get people hyped up
Yep.
before the people who do have talent come out.
That's right.
Okay, can we put that in perspective for you, Obama? That is you.
You are supposed to be the figurehead. It's kind of like if you've ever seen the movie or read the book Hitchhiker's Guide for the Galaxy. They're tolling around the galaxy with the president of the galaxy, and he's an idiot. I mean,
Yes.
He's a total idiot, and that's why he was elected,
Yeah.
because he's supposed to just be somebody that everybody likes, that makes them happy, and otherwise the real legislation's put through by, in this it was a ruling body, but you get the point.
The only problem is now our ruling body is shallow, empty,
Right.
untalented people as equally as worthless as the president.
Right,
Look at
there's-
Boner.
Well,
Look
'cause
at
they
John
all
Boehner. He
suddenly-
plays golf every week with Obama. Do you really think he's trying to fight the Obama agenda when they're out there on the golf course, buddy? Probably in the sauna together after the golf rounds, and that's what these old rich people do at country clubs. It's weird. They like to go sit in hot rooms naked, and I don't get it, but
that's how
weird. That's just weird. Can I say saunas are weird?
It is weird. I don't like saunas.
I don't either. That's just weird.
Unless it's a private sauna.
Yeah.
No, but that's why you can tell that the presidency's been turned into something more than just an office, because the congressmen now see their roles in Congress as a path
It's
to
a
the
stepping
presidency, which is ridiculous. It's not a chain of command. It's not a hierarchy that you want to step
It's not
up.
a job. Yeah,
No.
you're not going up the different levels. You don't start
Right.
at the mailroom. Of course, nobody does anymore. But
You're not climbing up the ladder,
yeah,
guys.
Yeah.
You're there to represent your people, and if you do that good a job, and maybe the greater nation wants to elect you for a term to be its president, okay. But the idea is that you're there to represent your district, your people. That's where it starts.
And it starts even at the grassroots level, because we've got the lamestream media brainwashing the mindless masses out there. Do you know what I'm literally hearing in South Carolina from politically connected people, supposedly, and it's other shows out there? But do you know what I'm hearing from other radio hosts and supposed politically connected people on why we should support Lindsey Graham? Why we should support that animal? Because he's tenured in Congress. If we elect somebody else, they'll be a freshman senator, and then they won't have any sway. We got to put Graham back in because he has political pull.
Yeah, that
and
sucks.
we'll lose all of our political pull, and basically all of the political currency that he's built up, we'll lose if we elect somebody else. So we have to support Graham, who's selling us out, who wants amnesty, who's taking jobs from South Carolina, and he's hiding behind I'm going after Benghazi.
Yeah.
Really? Really? We're going into 2 years after Benghazi and we can't get a straight answer? Are you going after it? Who's gone to jail in 2 years? A year and 8 months now, going on 2 years. Who's gone to jail? Answer me that.
They won't even. They can't even get people in contempt for this. Congress is trying to hold people in contempt. Well, they say they are, and they can't, quote unquote.
Yeah. Quit hiding behind Benghazi, Graham, because you're not even the strongest fighter from South Carolina about it. Trey Gowdy's got you beat over on the House side for that one, because you know what, Graham? He's a real man. Trey Gowdy stands for liberty. He's not a sellout, little backstabbing weasel like Lindsey Graham.
Well, we're not supposed to care about whether or not they're tenured. See, they're not supposed to be career politicians. We're supposed to elect people who continually have the interest of the community in their heads. And, when they go to Congress and they don't do anything to support the interests of the state, then we need to put them out of office and put someone back in. If we're scared a freshman's going to not have enough pull, then we need to put someone in who does have enough pull.
Absolutely.
There's plenty of people out there who can go and demand respect.
Ted Cruz has only been in there 2 years, and he's got more political pull right now than almost anybody.
Right,
Justin Amash is a freshman congressional congressman over on the House side, and look at the pull he's got.
That's right.
Mike Lee, he's been around for a while, but look at the pull he's got now. You know how you get pull? You stand up for liberty.
Mm-hmm.
You stand up for freedom. You stand up for personal rights, property rights, individual rights, and you stand up for the Constitution. You stand up for what our government was built on. You don't follow Tyrant Obama down the path of tyranny.
Well, that's why they used to get up in Congress and fight and yell and debate with each other, because they weren't getting what they needed, and they get up and scream about it.
Leading into the Civil War with the heated sides on both between the abolitionists and the keeping slavery going in new territory people, leading up to that, there was an assault on the House floor. Preston Brooks and I'll have to look it up. But, yeah, they literally beat a senator over the head with a cane. I'll have to look that one up again to find out the exact details of it. But, yeah, it was in the middle of Congress. They were so heated over this that they were literally fighting. But you know what? We've neutered our society through the fluoride in the water, through the estrogen mimickers and plastics and the vaccines and the food we're eating. We've neutered our society to where there are no real men left.
Yeah, and
if you get passionate about something, you're looked at as a freak. Look at Dylan Radigan. We'll play that clip later on, but look at how he was looked at for getting passionate and screaming about the economy. Anybody that does that. Look at how shocking it is when somebody raises their voice now.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's right. The only way you have any power in Congress now is if you belong to the big boys club.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get to walk around in a nice suit and go out to free dinners paid for by the taxpayers, and have your sexcapades and everything else, and that's how you have pull, quote unquote.
Hamilton and Burr, man, look at this. Let's settle debates with duels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, point remains: Lindsey Graham needs to be put out of office. I'm glad that I continue to.
Yeah, Lindsey Graham. I don't want to say that because somebody will say I'm calling for violence, but there's a movie about a dog. Little boy had, and some bad things had to happen to the dog. It was a Disney movie from the 60s or 70s. I'm sure you remember it, but Nick, you know where I'm going there.
Yep.
And that's what I think needs to happen to Lindsey Graham.
We finally see people coming out in the streets here in South Carolina, though, holding up Fire Graham signs. Maybe the public will get activated.
So, yeah. Let's go back to this. Let's teach Obama some more Common Core education. This is real Common Core. This is what you commonly need to know. You know what? I realized the name of it. It just hit me. You know why they're calling it Common Core? Because it's destroying common sense.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah.
You're getting rid of that. Let's replace common sense with Common Core. That makes no sense. Yeah. Here we go. Let's get back to this, Obama. Teach you a little bit about the government that you supposedly know a lot of because you're a constitutional lawyer, yet you think you're a dictator.
Congress, passing laws and juggling bills. Oh, it's quite a thrill in the Congress. Focus your attention on ring number 3. The judiciary's in the spotlight. The courts take the laws and they tame the crimes, balancing the wrongs with your rights. No one part can be more powerful than any other is. Each controls the other, you see, and that's what we call checks and balances. Says, well, everybody's act is part of the show, and no one's job is more important. The audience is kind of like the country, keeping an eye on their performance.
And see, here's where things have changed since the 70s when Schoolhouse Rock was popular. The people were the audience then because they had a well-informed free media that was telling people the truth and actually exposing government corruption, not hiding it, not being told, hey, go along with this, and we have a place in our administration for you.
Oh, yeah.
Jay Carney's brother's the head of CBS.
We've got, this is the perfect time to mention this. Well, maybe we can get to this when we get back from break, but we have Putin now slamming Obama, and it's all because he's over there at a European energy conference saying that he is ready to start focusing Russia's attentions on Eurasian investments. And this is not being covered by the U.S. media at all, that he's making energy deals with China. I mean, the thing is, the two of those countries could completely flatten our economy.
And they're
if
getting
they
ready
wanted
to because they're pushing out the dollar. They're starting to look to other currencies.
And this news is being downplayed by the U.S. media.
Did you also see that Putin came out and said that the U.S. backed the revolt in the Ukraine?
Right.
Called it out. Called out Soros for funding it.
And here's the thing.
Everything we've been saying, Putin confirmed again this week.
That's right.
Folks, we are on the cutting edge here. Things that we say a week to 2 weeks to a month later, you're seeing in the mainstream media.
Conservatively.
I mean, and I still get people that look at me when I'm telling them things and they're like, come on, that can't be true. And I'm like, wait 2 weeks. Wait a month. You'll see it on Fox News. You'll see it on MSNBC. Are you going to believe it then?
Sometimes it's the day before things happen, but we call it. And, I mean, conservatively, a week to 2 weeks, more realistically, like an hour.
A month, yeah. I mean, it's in there. And, again, we've been saying that George Soros funded this, and now we've got Joe Biden's son making millions off of oil deals in the Ukraine that they're getting out of it. Mm-hmm. This is government corruption run amok, and you got Obama sitting here, the Congress is getting in my way and not letting me be a dictator.
I mean, Obama's over here, pushing racism, pushing sexism. You got Michelle Obama pushing prison food on our kids,
worse
the gay
than prison
agenda.
food.
And what really needs to be worried about in this country is the fact that our economy is about to be flattened by energy deals because Russia is basically saying, we don't care about you anymore. They don't even want to fight with us. Putin's saying, I don't want to fight you. I'm just going to make all my investments with Asia. Screw you.
That's because we're viewed as weak. We're viewed as spineless, thanks to Obama bowing to every Saudi prince, bowing to China, bowing to a Japanese robot. Who hasn't Obama bowed to?
I mean, this is some serious stuff. And Obama is going to lead us into total destruction. Literally singing everything's awesome. Saying, well, the gridlock in Congress is keeping me from being able to pass any legislation, and we need to focus on global warming, when really the issue is an energy crisis and oncoming economy collapse based on Russia and Asia telling us to screw ourselves. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Kneel before Zod!
Well, that's what he does.
Yeah.
I mean, he really.
I mean, and you'd never see. You've never before seen a president that's so weak like that,
Mm-hmm. But yet pretends to see. That's what the real fraud is in the media, is that he pretends to have all this strength. Is that he makes these hard-earned decisions and he comes on TV and says, I've decided to do this and that. I mean, it's all a farce.
It is. He's
not strong at all.
No.
He is a puppet. He has been put into place by globalists and people who wish to bring down our way of life. And like I said, it's so obvious when you look at I saw a report from one of the border agents who basically they've put up heat infrared sensors and things on blimps and all this kind of stuff so they can basically see all the time how many people are coming across the border, but we have not staffed they don't have enough capacity to be able to keep these immigrants out on the border. They have all these agents in some areas, and then some areas there's nobody. It's because the organization's completely destroyed, and they're just flowing into this country.
Well,
the border agents are saying, look, in some of these areas, we can't stop it.
And he just gave another 50,000 acres along the border that now people can't go into. That's a natural reserve. Do you think it's going to keep the cartels out? Do you think it's going to keep the coyotes out? Do you think it's going to keep the illegals out? No. It's going to keep out the Border Patrol agents. It's going to keep out the ATV riders that go down there. It's going to keep out the American citizens that want to enjoy our land.
Well,
to allow the cartels to run through. They're hanging up mannequins from billboards threatening people down along the border.
I mean, look, Obama supporters, let me know why you support him, because I don't get it. I don't see anything that makes sense as far as progressing this country.
Because you know why, Nick? You didn't give in to Common Core. You still have logic. You don't base everything on feelings. Obama supporters are like Chris Matthews. All they care about is that little tingle going up their leg when the man speaks. I get a little tingle in my stomach. It's not a tingle. It's more of a rumbling nausea feeling. I feel some burning coming up my esophagus as, the bile in my stomach comes up when the man speaks.
That's right.
Learn the Constitution. You're supposed to be a constitutional lawyer. Listen to the song here and learn the Constitution, Obama.
We've got some Russia talk Immigration talk and hour number 2 coming up next. Weekend Sit and Spin.
The rush hour.
1987, I'm told our founding fathers all sat down and wrote a list of principles that's known the world around. The USA was just starting out a whole brand new country, and so our people spelled it out. They wanted a land of liberty.
We got talk shows, we got sunglasses, we got music, we got fake Rolexes. KineticHiFi.com. Keep it locked in, honey butter. Hey, Tom.
Yeah, hey.
Hey, why is the computer so slow?
Internet connection?
It can't be the internet connection. We pay like $300 a month for that.
Holy chestnut.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, I know.
Yeah.
So it must be. Let's look around here for a second.
All right.
Yeah. You know what?
What?
Where's this wire go?
That wire?
That wire.
I don't know. It looks new.
It does kind of look new, but then there's like 18 wires down there. Let's try plugging it in over here. What do you say?
No, not there. No, right here.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Are you sure, Tom?
Positive. Plug it in.
All right, let's try that out.
Okay.
Don't be that guy. Instead, put your trust in ITSimplified.com. Cloud computing, data center servers, network management, Web 2.0, SQL, scalable architectures, programming, tech infrastructure, security, and anything else you shouldn't bother trying to figure out. Call 843-376-1991. That's 843-376-1991. ITSimplified.com. That's IT-simplified.com. Solutions simplified.
Do you sometimes think life was just better when I was young? Maybe you're right. You know, there has been a marked decline in girls ages 8 to 14 that participate in Girl Scouting. And today we're looking for girls who are ready to be the leaders of tomorrow. Girls in this age group are vital to Scouting. They serve as role models for younger girls and uplift the community. And ladies, we need you to be that example too. Become a volunteer, a troop leader, or just enroll your daughter in Girl Scouts today. Call 843-552-9910 to learn more.
Music, comedy, conspiracy, politics, and more. All right here at KineticHiFi.com. Charleston's local radio.
The Weekend Sit and Spin here at the KineticHiFi.com studios. Saturday morning. Closing up the first hour here. You know, maybe we should take a moment to get on a couple of these lighter topics, because we did see quite a few naked incidents this week. What's the deal with the naked people?
It's getting crazy out there. I don't understand. Guy rushes the White House, says he has a meeting with Obama, then they won't let him in, so he strips down and tries to rush the White House.
This is crazy.
This is, of course, the naked people at McDonald's.
Yeah,
McDonald's is just weird now. I mean, I haven't been to a McDonald's in a long time, just because I'm trying to eat a lot better than poisonous crap food that's filled with plastics and black fibers and chicken nuggets that nobody knows what it is. And I've kind of stayed away from McDonald's, but just we're seeing all these weird things happening there.
This is weird. Yeah, he screams, I have a 3 o'clock appointment with Mr. Obama, and he handed them his ID, but it was a foreign ID. They said we either need an American driver's license, an international license, or a passport. So was this guy a foreigner? I guess he was. Yeah, that's very strange. And then as they're wrestling him to the ground, the Secret Service people were saying, resist, sir, resist.
Yeah, I think that's a misquote. I think they were probably saying don't resist, but...
That would be very strange if that's what they were saying, right?
Well, I mean, it goes back to show, like we've been talking about here, our government and their whole new ideas of going around literally like Mars Attack, yelling, "We are your friends," while we're killing you.
Mm-hmm. There was another one, too, this week. A naked guy was in an intersection and ran up to a car and started trying to pull the lady out of the driver's seat.
Yeah, I saw that one as well.
I mean, it's not funny.
No,
but
it's just weird. It's like, why are all these people running around naked?
It was kind of like when the issue with the bath salts came out, and people were just like sitting on the streets, eating body parts and things. And it seemed like that just completely went away. Maybe the naked thing will go away too.
It's got to be over medication, the Prozac in the waters, and things like that.
Speaking of Prozac in the water and this kind of thing and how it is affecting new generations, there's a couple other ones. I'm just looking through some headlines to close up the hour. Pittsburgh CBS local 4th grader caught smoking pot in school faces discipline. 4th grader. Wow. How old's a 4th grader?
Around 10.
10 years old?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Well, that's the new Agenda 21. I mean, they're pushing for kids to be sexualized at 5, adults by 10 and dead by 20.
And it's
the eugenics movement is you can't have life extension technologies and having everybody live into 120 years old paying into Social Security and then getting it out for 60 years.
I think what we see, too, is an overall degradation in society promoted by the media that says, you don't need to take care of your kids. Let the state take care of your kids. They don't belong to you anyway. It's okay to be single mom, single dad. That's way better than being a couple and having a family, destroying the family. We talk about that all the time. But then we start to see, and people are going to say, well, this kind of thing happens all the time. It just happens to be on drugs this morning. Well, sure, that is the case. But we don't see all of the different cases. I mean, there's probably hundreds of thousands of these things happening on a weekly basis. So I just wonder.
I've got a 12-year-old selling Ambien to classmates out of a CBS local in Philly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So how much more widespread is this kind of thing going to get as the media continues to promote the fact that you don't need to be a responsible
public education as
parent?
We should have, because we've always had kind of a private notion of children. Your kid is yours and totally your responsibility. We haven't had a very collective notion of these are our children. So part of it is we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities. Once it's everybody's responsibility and not just the households, then we start making better investments.
Listen, let me rephrase what the thing is, she said, I'm not going to give her any credit, actually. What she's saying is completely false. A community needs to have the responsibility of being a good role model to children in general. But that doesn't mean that they are directly involved with the actual raising and nurturing of that child. The parents are supposed to be responsible for that. The parents raise the child. They are the parents. The child belongs to them. If you're a community member, sure, you're supposed to be a good role model. If you have your friends and your friends' kids need a job or something and you can provide them a job, that's the kind of responsibility you take as a community. But you don't take on the responsibility of raising those children. The parents have to do that. And when they don't, we see this kind of thing happen to our kids where they start younger and younger being sexualized.
That's
and
been
drugs
the problem with this whole let the government take care of you. Mm-hmm. We don't need family units. Let the government be your family. Get on welfare. Get on food stamps. That's what happens when you destroy the family unit. You destroy pride. You destroy general values.
Exactly.
And we're seeing again that the values that are being held up here are not moral, not ethical. We got more attacks this week on Phil Robertson from his Easter service sermon that he gave, where he was preaching at his church. Mm-hmm. And how long are we going to stand by and let them try to say that freedom of religion is hate speech?
I can't believe they went. I think they actually recorded part of that, because I think the media has part of the recording of his sermon.
I
can't believe
you TMZ sent somebody in that church that day to sit there and instigate this. Mm-hmm. Just like the Donald Sterling situation. Al Sharpton, did you see him this week when he got called on his racist rants?
Yep.
Well, I was being racist against one Jew. It doesn't really matter. It was individual. Is that going to work for Donald Sterling? He say no. It was against Magic Johnson.
Yes.
Why doesn't he come out and play that card?
See, that's the thing. The people who are screaming about racism the most are the most racist themselves.
Oh, Al Sharpton is completely racist. He's got a 30-year history of being a lying FBI rat and also instigating racial tensions. Look at Tawana Bradley. Look at the Duke Lacrosse case. Look at his role in Trayvon Martin.
See, it's the same thing with Oprah, too. Oprah has completely collectivized the females in this country to believing that the males are bad in general. She's like Lifetime. You know, she's so sexist herself, but then she promotes, she sits there spouting off how men are sexist. She's sexist. She's the one tearing down the males.
Oh, exactly. And thanks to Lifetime, you know, you've got every woman in the country now scared that on every aisle of Walmart there's somebody waiting to jump out and rape them.
I know, it's so true.
Yeah.
every single, and you'll always hear this. If you say this to a girl, every time they will tell you, well, not every movie. I mean, I watched a movie on Lifetime the other day where the guy was the good guy. Listen, every movie I have ever turned on that channel, sometimes I turn it on just to see how long it takes to see someone raping a girl.
Yeah.
Every time the guy is a douchebag, rapist, and I'm not saying they're not out there, but when you blanket statement that and force feed it to the public through the media constantly, they're going to think that all the time.
They're not hiding behind every item on the shelf at Walmart. You know, Al-Qaeda's not hiding in your 3-year-old toddler's diaper. You don't need TSA searching there for it.
Yeah.
And did you see the new video that came out this week trying to make TSA sound cool? The actress is like, I get a head orgasm when I go through TSA and they pat me down. It's so cool to be felt up by TSA. And TSA bought 24 million rounds of duty ammo this week, which I question their role for duty ammo when they're not armed. Why do they need duty ammo?
Yeah, that
sounds like a load of duty to me.
It's like all the other branches of the federal government loading up on guns and ammunition. I mean, we know now that they are arming up to defend themselves against the public. And it's because the White House and the globalists in general are pushing that the veterans and the conservative members of the public are the new terrorists, are going to start the Civil War. They do that, I think, so that they can continue their end game of having a Civil War. They want the Civil War.
Well, yeah, because they know it's going to kill off the patriots and it's going to kill off the cops. It's going to do their dirty work for them.
Right. That's why they promote that we're going to start it. We don't want a war.
That's why we need to get the cops on the side with the patriots, realize that you're being sold out too.
Yeah.
Join up. The military's already there. The military, they're awake. They know what's going on. They've seen it. They've been able to break through their compartmentalization. And for the most part, the military is aware that we have been taken over by a corrupt criminal organization of offshore bankers that are leading us to a one-world government.
Except
now it's time to get the police to realize that. Police are too busy getting their little trinkets from the New World Order, getting their militarized tanks.
That's the problem. There's a lot of trendies getting into the police and the military right now. And those are the ones that we have to watch out for because we don't want violence.
Yeah.
We want the public to wake up and realize it is a corporate takeover of our Congress that is funded or that funds the eugenics models, that funds this singularity. They want to supersede humanity and destroy us in the crossfire. It's ridiculous, but that's what they want. Are you going to let it happen? I'm Nick O'Kelly. This is Drew Howard with me here in the KineticHiFi.com studios. The Weekend Sit and Spin. We'll be right back with hour number 2, the Rush Hour, coming up next. Stick around.
I could not foresee this thing happening to you. If I look hard enough into the setting sun, my love will laugh with me before the morning comes. I see a red door and I want it.
Yeah, this is what happens when you cross fun with classy. You're listening to KineticHiFi.com, baby. It's flashy.
At 164 King Street, find an oasis of calm, the Charleston Library Society, celebrating the written word, dedicated to enlightened thought within an atmosphere of gentility and learning. Established in 1748, it's the South's oldest cultural institution, and you're invited to visit. Come experience the elegant main reading room, our children's center, and join in to enjoy our speakers series, concerts, and other fine programs. Affordable membership is available now and always at the Charleston Library Society.
Your business not going right? Don't know how to advertise? Come holler at your boys right here at Signs to See. We specialize in all your advertising needs. You need t-shirts, business cards, signs, banners. We got it all. Car magnets, decals, flyers. We got it all for you right here at Signs to See. Conveniently located at 937 Wapo Road, Suite 2B. You can also call us at 843-608-0722. You got a family reunion, you got a class reunion, and don't know how to get your t-shirts done? Well, call Signs to See. Signs to See is conveniently located at 937 Wapo Road, Suite 2B. Also, you can call us 843-608-0722. Or you can log on, SignsToSee.com. And I do all my business with Signs to See.
That roof in need of repair. That leaky ceiling driving you insane. The bathroom commode constantly running. The entire house from inside out is gasping for help. For over 35 years, when your home, office, or place of worship needs repair, yes, you need the specialists of Capers and Capers Carpentry. They're a family-owned business that's been around for nearly 40 years. Whenever your home, office, or place of worship is in need of repair, call the specialist at area code 843-642-0697. Capers and Capers can help repair your roof, hang sheetrock, hardwood floors, minor electrical work, replace trim, paint the inside as well as the outside, replace wood side. Capers and Capers Carpenters can revive your ailing landscape. Install ceiling fans too. Call the carpentry specialist and get a free estimate at 843-642-0697 or contact them by email arnoldcapers@yahoo.com. Ask and ye shall receive.
You're listening to Kinetic Hi-Fi in Charleston, Samalama.
Welcome back. The Weekend Sit and Spin. Nico Kelly, Drew Howard here in the KineticHiFi.com. It's the Rush Hour. And we got a lot to rush to here. You know, we brought this up before the break, and short segment, long segment coming up next, so let's go ahead and mention this. But Donald Sterling, I guess, has made a decision here. Seems like peer pressure has gotten to him. But he surrendered control of the Clippers to his wife. And alongside of this, of course, they're also accusing Mark Cuban now of being a racist. But here's the overall concept. They use racism to be able to shut down people's jobs. We'll lose free speech if that happens. I mean, I'm not saying I agree with what he said, but I still can't believe that no one has brought up the point that this girl went in there against his knowing, recorded him, got a payday from it. I mean, I saw where they're talking about putting her on The View or something. I mean, this girl got a payday, and this guy's going to lose his business.
Yeah, and, you know, I still think it's going to be very odd, especially if Magic Johnson ends up buying the team like it looks like. You know, I really think that's going to it's all been a plant.
Well,
it's all been planned out from the beginning to get him to force the team to sell it to Magic Johnson in the interest.
I just thought about something, too. Haven't we seen recently, well, maybe it was last year or something, talking about making the NBA an all-black league or making an all-black version of the NBA? I feel like I've seen this in the media coming from some of the players. But, you know, here's the thing. Why? Why do they want to perpetuate racism? And now to go after Mark Cuban? You know, but you see LeBron James, Magic Johnson, these are the guys leading the charge on this. Mm-hmm. You know, the most corrupt ones, I guess, in the business. LeBron James just does nothing but pushes the White House's agenda constantly. He was on the Obamacare thing. You know he doesn't have Obamacare. Heck, he's probably got his own private physician. But either way, I can't believe that they want to continue to push this racism thing to try to take down team owners.
And it's not just team owners. It's in all businesses. We saw it with Mozilla, the CEO being ousted for his political donations.
Mm-hmm.
If you go against the political correctness agenda, then you will be ostracized for it. And that's what we're really seeing now. And as we mentioned earlier, they're changing this agenda to even things that are constitutionally protected, like freedom of religion. You're now seeing what's being preached about in churches being called hate speech. And we saw that this week with the Duck Dynasty situation and them coming after Phil Robertson again for his comments that he made from the pulpit in a church. And they were biblical. He was just basically saying that the media didn't even realize I was quoting the Bible. I was referencing scripture here. They thought I was just spouting off my own mouth.
And you know, like I said, if they are successful in allowing racism to continue to take businesses and individuals in general for what they say, we're in for a real problem constitutionally in this country. Raw Story brought up, which I think that you can even see a video on this, but Ted Cruz drops bombshell, Senate Democrats to repeal the First Amendment this year. I mean, this is huge news, and you have to see it on sites like Raw Story.
And that's what they're doing, is they're making it hate speech to preach the Bible. They're making it hate speech to speak out against anything. We saw 2 radio hosts fired this week in New York for supposedly anti-transgendered remarks.
Well, but Cruz says, quote, Senator Chuck Schumer has announced the Senate Democrats are scheduling a vote on a constitutional amendment to give Congress the authority to regulate political speech because elected officials have decided they don't like it when the citizenry has the temerity to criticize what they've done. I like that wording. They don't like it when pastors in their community stand up and speak the truth, he added. But anyway, the proposal stands virtually no chance of gaining the required 2/3 House and Senate majorities needed for approval. It's essentially an elections year stunt intended to highlight the Republicans' favor unfettered funding. I don't know if we can dismiss it so quickly, though.
No, because this is the same thing we're always told. Well, if you pass the NDAA, I'm not going to sign the NDAA. And then Obama signed the NDAA, which allowed spying on us, infinite detention, you name it.
Let's pass it to find out what's in it, and we can
same with
Obamacare.
Fix it later. Yep. And we hear these lies told time and time again, and they're saying, well, this is nothing to worry about. We're not really going to take away your First Amendment, and then they're going to take away the First Amendment. And then the Second Amendment's going to follow. We've already got the 3rd, 4th, and 5th being taken.
That's right.
Or 4th, 5th, and 6th, excuse me. Doing some Common Core math here. My numbers messed up. But. Yeah, this is coming out of the AP, though. New York radio host fired for supposed transgender remarks. 2 upstate New York radio hosts have been fired over their on-air comments about Rochester's decision to cover gender reassignment surgery for city employees. Again, it's not an issue of transgender or, if people want to change their sex. It's an issue of why take my money to pay for it.
Exactly.
If you want to do that, by all means, go do it. But save up your own money. Start a what is the crowdfunding things? Start
Kickstarter.
Start a Kickstarter. See if you can get other, crazy libtards that want to donate to your cause. Get your money that way. Go pick at your private healthcare insurances to do it. Don't take my tax money, even though it's fake fiat currency to begin with. Don't take the money off on my back to pay for your abortion, to pay for your sex reassignment surgery, to pay for any of these weird, and that's what got them fired, is they called it weird, so that we may get fired here because I'm calling it weird, any of these weird inclinations that you have.
I think it's weird, and that's the thing. If you want the surgery, fine. There are specialists out there who will do it for you, but like you're saying, it's your responsibility to pay for it. But that's the overall issue, is that more and more of these generations, every generation it seems like that's coming up now is being taught that they don't have to be responsible for themselves. They don't have to be responsible to live their life and pay for the things that they need and get a job. It's going to come from the government. It's all on welfare. You're not going to have to drive in a few years, Drew, because they're bringing driverless cars to Europe now.
Exactly. And the government is our daddy. Obama's our daddy. That's
but
what
see,
we have to listen to.
You see what happens to society when you start taking on those ideals. Society has less and less responsibility. They don't have accountability anymore. It's like these fast food workers like you're talking about. I just can't get over that they're once again protesting or whatever. I mean, listen, there are people out there that are making plenty of money that are making $15, $20, $25 an hour and still complain this much. Okay? I mean, where do you draw the line? What's enough?
Yeah, well, this is what's going to happen. If they get their $15 an hour, then they're going to complain, saying, well, now I need $30 an hour. Because I'm got a livable wage, but I still can't go get that giant TV at Walmart that I want, and I don't have a nice new car. I need $30 an hour because that's what I need.
And can you imagine a world where a fast food worker makes more money than an auto manufacturer? You know? I mean, but this is the path we're on right now.
And it's because we let unions get into the fast food industry. We've let unions get into the service and hospitality industry. Unions are a cancer.
That's right. In this country especially. It doesn't work in a free market. That's the thing. It doesn't, you know, because it's supposed to be based on your ability, right? I mean, you're supposed to get paid based on your ability, and that's what we're losing. We're starting to pay people just because they show up. And it's breeding a culture of people that want to get paid to do nothing. Look at the post office, man. It was a joke for me when I was growing up that every single time you walk in, it probably still happens like this. I try not to go to post office. You walk in, at least one of the two people working are going to go on break right there. You know, there's this huge line, and someone says, I got to go on break. We'll see you later.
This morning at the Kangaroo store, there's this huge line, and one of the clerks is standing there on break.
Yeah, and she was talking to her.
The other clerk was trying to help the people.
She's saying, well, I'm about to go on break, but if you need something, I mean, there's a storage room back there with a bunch of stuff. I heard her saying that. I'm thinking, what the heck are you talking about? There's literally 7 people in line. Why don't you get all these people out of here? Then maybe both of you could take a quick break or something.
People don't think like that anymore. They have no common sense because of Common Core dumbing it out of them. The hydrofluorosilicic acid, sodium fluoride in the waters, the mimickers in the plastics, things like that are dumbing down our society. And what we have is, to quote Mark Dice, it's mindless mass morons.
Well, here's the thing. It's a catch-22, okay? These people are going to want to get paid to do less and less, and that is going to bring in the justification for the efficiency of robots.
Exactly.
They're putting themselves out of a job.
And this is all part of the transhumanism push, is because what do you think is going to happen at McDonald's when they start having to pay their employees $15 an hour? They're going to replace the employees with computer screens.
We're
already seeing that in San Francisco. We're already seeing that in New York at these places that have high minimum wages to begin with. They're already kicking the employees out of there. And then you're going to have the burgers being put together by robots, which will probably put together accurately.
Yeah, it's an assembly line. It doesn't take much. A robot will do it perfectly.
And it will do it better than the person that's working there. That's the problem, is you have to be flawless, and you have to understand that if you want this job, if you want humanity to continue, and you don't want the Terminator movies to come true, and you don't want Skynet to take over, you have to be more efficient than a robot.
Yeah.
You have to be more effective.
Listen, there is a gas station, and I'm all about efficiency. In fact, let me go ahead and tell you, I mean, the job that I do on a daily basis that's what I do. I am supposed to make my company more efficient. And so I'm all about it. But I want the humans to do it. I don't want to put robots in there. I just want the humans to want to work. Exactly. I want them to work smarter, and I want them to so that we can have more productivity. But there's a gas station near my job that uses that digital ordering system that you've seen them trying out at McDonald's. It uses that. You do not interact. There's people behind in the kitchen area that cook everything. You don't interact with them at all.
There's a gas station in North Carolina. Well, a chain of them. I don't know. They're not around here, but I know them in North Carolina. Sheetz that does that.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of like a Sheetz. I mean, they've made the. I think it's a Sunoco, but they've got the big ones are like that now, where they have all the food and everything. There's a whole deli in there. But no, you don't interact with the cooks. You walk up, you make your selection, they get their order. Yep. You don't even talk to them. Nope. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's what's going to happen. I don't want to live in that world. I want to live in a world where I get customer service from a person.
I don't like using the self-checkouts because I like talking to a person when I'm there.
Yeah, I mean, and not only that, the self-checkouts are so stupid because, if you get alcohol or you get something, God forbid you get cough medicine, you're going to have them come over and look at your ID anyway. So half the time you can't even get out of the store without seeing someone anyway. It's so stupid. But see, this is what I don't get. They're so stupid, they don't realize that they're putting themselves out of a job. At least they have a job. We're in a bad economy. And they're protesting that they're not making enough at McDonald's?
Which is one of the companies that's allowed to exempt from Obamacare. That's what I'm trying to say.
Tens of millions of people sitting on a couch. You ought to be thankful for that job, even if it is at McDonald's. And do your best at it. Maybe you can get a better one later.
Mm-hmm. Short break coming up. We'll be back in 90 seconds.
The weekend sitting school.
Yeah, that's right. It's what happens when you cross bad with good. You're listening to KineticHiFi.com. It's Bud.
If you've thought about life insurance and don't know what to do, call me. If you don't know the difference between whole and term, call me. If you haven't seen your agent in years, don't have one, or just moved to this area, hey, call me. If you want to meet for a cup of coffee and talk about the Super Bowl, call me. Hey, I'm Steve Barksdale with Barksdale Family Insurance. Give me a call at 843-284-6726 or visit me at BarksdaleFamilyInsurance.com. That's BarksdaleFamilyInsurance.com.
Thanks for tuning in to KineticHiFi.com. Stay tuned in. Thanks.
So, I mean, like I said, putting themselves out of a job, and I just can't believe it. But it's going to continue to go that direction as long as our congressmen, our representatives, and our president settle for corruption, settle for padding their wallets rather than addressing the needs and the concerns of the American people.
Well, and it's what we're seeing with Obama this week coming out saying Congress is in his way just by the way it's set up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he wants to be a tyrant. That's why he's told you, reject the voices that warn the government.
That's why I loved CNS
You've
News.
grown up hearing voices that incessantly warn of government as nothing more than some separate, sinister entity that's at the root of all our problems.
But
Some of
it
these same
is.
voices also do their best
Look
to
at
gum
our
up the work.
problems historically. They're rooted in government.
They'll warn that tyranny
Big
is
government.
always lurking just around the corner. You should reject these voices. Because what they suggest is that our brave and creative and unique experiment in self-rule is somehow just a sham with which we can't be trusted. We have never been a people who place all of our faith in government to solve our problems. We shouldn't want to.
We've never.
But we don't think the government is the source of all our problems either. Because we understand that this democracy is ours. And as citizens, we understand that it's not about what America can do for us, it's about what can be done by us together.
Yeah, see, he's corrupting what JFK said. It's not about what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country, because that puts the emphasis on the individual. Obama's putting emphasis on the collective.
Well, and it's going completely against what Reagan said, too, as far as the most scary words.
Obama is the Borg.
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Well, I mean, you know, and Reagan himself, he had his ups, he had his downs, but since then, of course, it's been a snowball effect with our leaders. And Obama, I mean, it's so bad, and I can't believe
the opposite.
It's incredible that you have like the Clinton president, which is just as much of a globalist as an elitist, but at least you have the public who was willing to challenge him in some respects. And now look at the degradation from that point, where you still had a public willing to challenge Clinton, to where now you have a public scared to challenge Obama.
Yeah, because if you challenge Obama, you're racist. You're going to be labeled a racist. You're going to be at the threat of losing your business, losing your freedoms, losing everything you've worked for.
So the globalists got it right. They figured out that it's not the charismatic. No. It's the minority that they have to exploit.
And we've still allowed... Look, David Letterman coming out, it was either last week or this week, and apologizing for the role he played in the Monica Lewinsky scandal. And, because she's come out and released that Esquire piece where she said she was suicidal afterwards all this other. She blamed Matt Drudge for it and, vilifying Drudge again. And
there you
don't
go.
listen to Drudge reports. The voices warning you of tyranny.
You're not allowed to know the truth because you're just one of the normals. That's what they said. I was watching Caught Up on Veep, and it's got a lot of just propaganda in it, but it has its funny moments. But I noticed one of the things that they said was, a citizen had come to see the vice president, and they said, "Oh, ma'am, one of the normals is here." And I'm just like, "Oh, it stings in my heart." Like, really? Like, is that where we've gotten?
Mm-hmm. That's what they view us as.
We're muggles.
Yep.
We're the muggles. That's what's happened.
We're the Morlocks. They're the Eloi.
That's right.
It's H.G. Wells.
They play a joke on that show like it's funny. It's not funny. We are not. We are America. They represent us. They work for us, but that's not how it's seen anymore.
Yeah, but we can forget about him.
Yeah, it was just one ant. One ant.
Yeah, you're right. It's just one ant.
Yeah, boss. They're puny.
That's what they view us as.
Right.
Yep. Say, let's pretend this grain is a puny little ant. Did that hurt?
This is their biggest fear.
How about this one?
This is why they're trying to silence us. This is why they're telling you, don't listen to our voices. Don't listen to Matt Drudge. Don't listen to Alex Jones. Don't listen to Mark Dice.
Who are all patriots just trying to point out the corruption like we're doing.
Yep. Don't listen to Rosa Corey, speaking out against Agenda 21. Don't listen to Wolfgang Halbig pulling back the wool on Sandy Hook.
Those puny little ants outnumber us.
I was talking to a family.
And if they ever figure that out, there goes our
the other
way
day
of
about
life.
John McCain, and they'll hear this. Hopefully they won't be upset with me, but they made the comment that I needed to be careful what I said about John McCain because he was a prisoner of war. And, I'm sorry, but it makes me sick because John McCain is a traitor to this country. Am I wrong?
No. Last year, he went and had Memorial Day barbecue with Al-Qaeda in Syria.
That's right, to make nice with him.
Yeah.
For the president.
So that way we could try to push our war in Syria.
Look, I don't care if...
The only reason we didn't go into Syria into a full-out ground war is because the troops said, we're not fighting in Syria. We're not fighting with Al-Qaeda. They basically, to quote Eric Cartman, said, screw you guys, I'm going home.
The scary thing is he's fired a lot of those people now.
He did, and now he's replaced them with people that's going to do whatever he says. He's replaced them with, Grand Moff Tarkin that's going to sit there and go along with whatever said.
Like the guy in Captain America. Mm-hmm. He's totally sold out. He's going to do whatever. It's his job.
Yep,
he's going to do it.
They're on Hydra.
Yep. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. It's crazy the level and that they're taking us to where we're not going to be able to do anything about it if we don't stand up now.
Yeah, and again, I really want to suggest this. We had the opportunity the other night to go to the advanced screening of X-Men: Days of Future Past. Really good movie. Had a pretty good message as far as the transhumanism, the technocratic takeover, and what you're going to see as far as if we do implement combat robots on the streets of America and that kind of move, drones in the sky when they become self-aware and start targeting whoever they want to.
It was a little more ambiguous. I'm sorry, ambiguous and general in the Patriot message compared to Captain America, but I still think, like you're saying, it had a fantastic message against...
It wasn't as good as Captain America on that one. Captain America didn't... There was no hiding it. There was no looking for symbolism.
That's what I'm saying.
Captain America came out and told you, We've been corrupted. We've been taken over. This is how they're doing it, through compartmentalization. Nobody except for the top elite know every bit of the plan. That's how it works. A lot of people still are working along with it, thinking they're doing the right thing. And it literally pulled back the wool and showed you exactly how this global takeover of offshore global banking elite has infiltrated and taken over America, and how it's kept the people dumbed down and in the shadows for it.
Which it is Captain America. Now, X-Men served as an allegory for the gay agenda in its first movie. And they've kind of
it's always been a civil rights, and then when they started making a gay takeover,
the first movie though was much more. But now they've kind of I'm just talking about from the movie standpoint. The comics, of course, have always been Stan Lee's a patriot, but the movies, they tried to use it as a gay agenda in that first movie, found out it didn't work very well, have pulled away from it, lost their motivation for making it a good movie because it's Fox, and I think they brought it back with this one. I think they're kind of getting on board and realizing that making a movie relevant is really what's going to sell better. So you had that. They did have the political talk, but it didn't take a stand like Captain America did, I didn't think. But nevertheless, it did show sentient beings on the streets, the kill targets, and that's what we're heading towards. You got the globalists in their bunker there at the end.
Well, and it starts talking about how they overtake and started killing the humans as well as the mutants, and it wasn't differentiating.
And that we have to stand up, and that's kind of the point. You see the corruption happening in Congress, where the company that creates these beings, they're basically lobbying Congress to support them, and that's what we have to stand up against. Whenever Congress stops focusing on the interests of the public, that's the time that we reevaluate who's in Congress.
And just to show you how out of touch Congress is right now, this week, we got the economy going down the crapper. We've got the global takeover of our entire way of life. We've got our Constitution being sold out to the UN under Agenda 21, giving up our national sovereignty. And do you know what they took up the mantle for this week? 50 politicians wrote NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell to officially call the Washington Redskins name racist.
Well, I just,
it's out of Politico.
I'm so glad that I just want to give a round of applause there to Congress for really nailing that one down, because I've been very concerned that the Redskins were going to continue to be allowed to be total racists, I mean, so good for Congress.
And they need to, because everybody in D.C. has to remember one of the key pillars of wonderful, awesome tyranny is root for the local sports team. Go sports team!
Exactly. Well, we don't want the Redskins to be Redskins anymore. We just want them to be the Washington sports team. We don't even want to identify saying football is racist against soccer, okay? So you can't differentiate the two anymore unless you want to be a racist, okay? Sports team, that's what we have to refer to all sports to as, because if you say soccer or football, you're discriminating against groups of people. So this is where it's heading, you see. It's going to be to where you literally can't do anything without being some kind of a criminal or shunned by the public. I mean, technically, Donald Sterling's not a criminal right now, but he's being completely shunned and destroyed in his image by the public, which is like Michael Jackson. Unfortunately...
Oh, did you see the people crying this week when he was resurrected at the Billboard Music Awards in a hologram?
And
this is all beta testing. This is pre-programming. Look up Project Bluebeam. Look up what they plan. The CIA plans to supposedly trick Christians into thinking Jesus has come back with a hologram in the sky. It's Project Bluebeam. It's declassified. You can look it up.
I've got it right here.
They've tried that in the Middle East to project Muhammad reappearing to Muslims.
Yeah, you've got NASA evidently attempting to implement a new age religion with the Antichrist as its head at the start of a new world order.
Well, we had Bill Clinton come out last week and say, the alien invasion is necessary to bring the world together. Just like Ronald Reagan said, but I tell you what, I did not have sexual relations with that alien at Area 51.
This was put out by Sergei Monast in his book published, Project Bluebeam, and evidently him and also another journalist that worked with him died of heart attacks suddenly in 1996.
Yes, suddenly.
That's interesting. Well, I mean, some of these people that they'll get rid of just know too much. We can't let these people be running around knowing what's really going on in the government. That would be racism.
Yeah, and that's why Bill Clinton said that the other day as he's getting ready for the fake alien invasion for Project Bluebeam that they're getting ready to push on us. And it's aliens are going to come back to Earth and that it's going to bring us peace. Okay? and Hillary's going to be elected in 2016 and she's going to bring in the aliens and, I'm going to go smoke a cigar.
The first thing I would do after putting my hand on that Bible and taking that oath to serve the country is I wouldn't even probably finish the oath. I would run to the White House. I demand to see all the classified files on the UFOs. Because I want to know. I'd want to know what has been going on. Did you do that?
Sort of.
Sort of.
Yeah, we had.
Who was that, Bill Clinton?
Yeah.
I think it was at the beginning of my second term. We had the anniversary of Roswell.
You waited that long?
I did.
Wow.
Well, I didn't. And then there's also Area 51. You remember there was a great sci-fi movie where there was an alien kept deep under the ground in Area 51?
Independence Day.
So first I had people go look
Remember
at the
that great
records on Area
sci-fi
51
movie?
to make sure there was
well, that's
no
not
alien
entirely
down
true, Mr. President.
Because that sci-fi movie was making fun of him,
everybody
too.
who works there has
That came
to
out
stop
in 96,
about
right?
an hour away
96, 97,
and
yeah.
put on special clothing and then drive in and out. And that's because a lot of our stealth technology is made there. We know that now. And
June 25th, 1996. So he would have been president.
Yep. So then when the Roswell thing came up, I knew we'd get, gazillions of letters. So I had all the Roswell papers reviewed, everything.
If you saw that there were aliens there, would you tell us?
Yeah.
You would?
I would. Well, I think, look, what do we know? We know now we live in an ever-expanding universe. We know that there are billions of stars and planets literally out there, and the universe is getting bigger. We know from our fancy telescopes that just in the last 2 years, more than 20
Lucifer.
planets have been
Literally,
identified.
look it up. The Vatican telescope is named Lucifer.
Yep.
That seem to be far enough away from their suns and dense enough that they might be able to support some form of life. So it makes it increasingly less likely that we're alone.
Oh, you're trying to give me a hint that there are aliens.
No, I'm trying to tell you I don't know.
Oh.
But if we were visited someday, I wouldn't be surprised. I just hope that it's not like Independence Day.
Yeah, right.
Oh, there you called it out.
That it's a conflict.
Well, now we have friendly
Maybe the only way to unite this incredibly divided world of ours.
Yep.
They're out there. We better
Just
think
like
of how
Reagan
all
said.
the differences.
Well, God created
among
the
people.
universe. I don't think that there's anything to stop us from believing that he would have also created another race.
And there's a lot of good looks into this as far as all the UFOs that are being experienced worldwide and stuff. My personal beliefs is that what you're seeing is demonic activities. We as the Bible says, we fight not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities. And I think that was telling us that we're in a struggle between good and evil at all times, and there are demonic entities surrounding us. I think that's a lot of the paranormal you see as far as ghosts, things like that, are demonic entities, and they're definitely surrounded. Look, I know that religion over the past 150 years has tried to really play down that. They've tried to say, well, possession doesn't happen. Jesus himself casted demons out of people into pigs. Mm-hmm. We can't hide behind it. We can't cherry pick out of the Bible what we want to believe and not believe. Mm-hmm. There's a spiritual realm that we can't see, of angels, of demons, of other entities around us. And I think it's time that we quit trying to hide behind it because it doesn't make us feel good. That's where Common Core really started, was in a lot of the churches around the country, when they started taking the actual Bible for what they wanted it to be instead of what it actually is. When they started allowing gay marriage to come into their churches and things that are completely against what it says in the Bible.
Well, I don't think that they can show us what they know about aliens yet, because they've spent decades trying to push this agenda, and I think it's probably almost come across. But they want to make sure that the release of their information on other beings, entities, aliens, whatever you want to call it, or whatever it ends up being, is because they want that to completely discredit the God factor. I think they want to use that to be able to push the God doesn't exist agenda once that comes out. I mean, you've been hearing it my friends have been saying it for years that, well, if aliens ever show up, that would really prove that God doesn't exist. I don't think that's true.
And then it tries to get into the whole Prometheus and the New World Order's religion that we are set here by God, that the gods are actually aliens from other planets, and they came here and put us on this planet.
Yeah.
And, that's what you get into the ancient aliens and the hieroglyphs with aliens and UFOs and things like that. Again, I still think it's demonic.
Well, and like I said,
I definitely believe we were put here by God, not by some alien race.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And my only point is that these spirits, whatever, maybe aliens. I mean, who knows? Like I said, we don't know that God didn't create another race of civilization out in the universe somewhere. But either way, I feel like the government probably has, with all this surveillance technology, with all of our technology, probably has information on something, whether it's a spirit realm or whatever. But you hear him talking there like he knows something, and I just wonder if they are waiting for the time when they feel like the release of this information, that hey, we can reach the spirit realm or whatever it happens to be, would completely discredit God. That's what I think.
I don't think it's going to discredit it. I think it would prove it.
Well, that's my point. That's my point. That's what I think they want. Well, they want it to, so they're waiting.
And that's why you see Project Blue being where they're faking it.
We agree. Yeah. I think it would prove God's existence, or at least continue to.
It's like all this global warming is, to me, doing nothing more but proving God's existence and God's hand in it. The further we dig into evolution, it's more proving God's hand in things. That's why you're seeing scientists come out and change their opinions a lot. When you start getting into the atom smashers and into the particle accelerators and things, you see a lot of those scientists that are coming back and saying, well, there's still this, they call it the God element even in there. Mm-hmm. There's this thing that they can't duplicate, they can't replicate, the spark of creation. And it's saying there's definitely an intelligent design.
Christina has a pretty cool thing here. Don't you find it humorous that they don't believe in the Bible, don't admit that God is real, that sin is sin, and yet they have plans to counteract the rapture and other aspects of events listed in the Bible that they don't believe in?
Well, and what you're seeing here is the mid-level minions don't believe in the Bible. They've been pitched this atheism, there's no greater thing than humanity. The real owners, the top-level Illuminati, New World Order scumbags sitting at the top of their black pyramid with the red eye, they fully are aware of God's existence, of God's power. They just choose to worship Lucifer.
And they've will feel his wrath.
Oh, absolutely, they're going to feel his wrath. But they've sold out, and they've got their brainwashed masses out there. We'll play the video from Harvard of these idiots out there. We have your children, and Satan is love. Satan's love. Murdering babies is love for Satan. We saw that at the Texas Capitol last year with the abortionists chanting Hail Satan. Mm-hmm. We saw that at Harvard this week with the, we got your kids. And I'm a woman.
Maybe and they wanted to promote this at Harvard for the Black Mass because it was educational. It's educational to see people, worshiping the devil. Well, it's and actually, I have to say, to some extent, it is educational for me to see that people are literally that insane. Yep. I mean, why would you worship the embodiment of evil unless you wanted to be trendy? That's my whole thing. And the ones that don't, they really are evil. They really are the embodiment of evil.
They are, and this is a great Dan Badandi piece. He went up there and interviewed a bunch of people from InfoWars about the Black Mass. It's a great video he did.
It's at Harvard like everywhere else. And if they can't recognize this as the same kind of hate speech that they routinely shut down when it is from groups of a traditionalist bent, then they really have no business talking about
shut down Duck
speech as a principle
but they're letting Black
It's
masses
our job
go
to come out and speak the truth calmly and do something for God when he's being attacked.
It makes me afraid, not for myself personally, but for society, for children, for these poor people that come to these things that are curious, because this stuff's dangerous. This is real. It's dangerous.
I'm here to witness the Black Mass, yes.
Okay, now, would you want to take part of it, or you
he's trendy.
I would have taken part in the Black Mass. Why not? I've taken part in their Mass. Why not the Black Mass?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm a girl.
I said, ma'am.
I'm good. That other guy just called me that, so I was confused.
I think it's a violation of their rights. If they wanted to hold a satanic ritual, as I said, as long as it's not hurting anyone, as long as no one's harmed during it, there should be no reason why it needs to be canceled.
I would have never stopped it.
As far as I can tell, there's no good reason to cancel the event. There's no violent crowds out here. Everyone seems to be peacefully minding their own business.
They're doing crack! They're doing all drugs! They're doing all sex! Jesus was a man! Jesus! Not a deity! He was a man!
It's real peaceful. Satanist
read your book, because it's all in your book! It's in your book! If thine eye be single, you shall see a straight light!
We're pro-Satan. We are anti-Satan.
And then it gets into here in a minute where the Satanists are fighting amongst themselves. Or one lady's out there saying that the person leading this event's not a real Satanist. He's just trying to get the support for the statue in Oklahoma. And
see, this is the thing. I mean,
the MSNBC called the statue in Oklahoma that we've talked about, the Baphomet statue they're trying to put up, they're saying that that's a satanic Gadsden flag now. It's a rallying mark. So again, they're trying to compare something as pure and honorable and patriotic as a Gadsden flag to something as repulsive as the Baphomet.
You know, and I mean, she does say, well, I to an extent, I guess I agree that they don't. If in public, you know, if they want to gather and have a black mass, it's their free right to do that.
It's their free right for religion to do that. Exactly. But the point,
how good of an idea is it for a college institution to allow that on their campus
and to promote it? That's
right.
the thing, to promote it as an event. It's just like the issues with the College of Charleston down here and losing their funding because of books that they were pushing.
Right.
You know, if you want to have the books in the library, if you want to make it available to the students to read, that's fine. But don't make it mandatory for incoming freshmen to read books about how great it is to be gay.
Exactly. So
because you're not trying to teach, you're indoctrinating at that point.
Mm-hmm. And see, the reason they canceled it was because people were showing up and doing crazy stuff and causing riots and this kind of thing. I mean, when just before it was happening, they were starting to get all this media attention. People were starting to freak out, so they canceled it because they're like, "Look, we don't want a circus here."
Yeah, and can I get very politically incorrect here for the next 4 minutes before our break, Nick? Before our break here, and then we'll come back after our break with our fairness doctrine, moment of Obama. Everything is awesome to offset my political incorrectness that I'm about to get. Here, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm sick and tired of this debate in our society and having to hear about how hard it is to be gay. Well, it's a lot harder to be a Christian in today's society than it is to be gay. If you're gay, you're celebrated. You know, look at Michael Sam coming out. He gets called to the White House. You know, Obama tells him how courageous he is. Michelle Obama comes out. He's a true American patriot. And what do they say about Tim Tebow? He's just a stupid Christian.
Troublemaker.
You know, we can't have him. We got to black out and not allow you to write verses in your eye black anymore because Tim Tebow did it, and that's offensive to Muslims that were playing against him.
Exactly.
Tell me how much more difficult it is to be gay in this society than it is to be a Christian. Tell me. Can somebody answer me that? Jump in the chat box. We're at KineticHiFi.com. We're at Spreaker Web Radio. Jump in either chat box and let me know exactly how much harder it is to be gay than be a Christian in this society. Because I'm sorry, if you're gay now, you're celebrated. You're revered. You're on the cover of Time magazine for coming out like Jason Collins.
Well, the point is,
you're held up
we should
to be a role model.
The point is we should be a melting pot here, and people should allow others to live their way of life as they want. But what's happening is the media is targeting groups.
Where's the supposed persecution?
To create racism. Yeah.
Where's the supposed persecution that everybody wants to hide behind? Do you think anybody would have chose to be this way? You always hear that. It's so hard to be gay. Why would I have chose to be this way? Because you're going to get a lot of attention.
Well,
you're going to be revered.
Like I said, you know,
society, thanks to Lifetime movies, we can go back to this. Not only has it taught women that there's a rapist behind every aisle at Walmart, but it's also said, oh, if you're gay, you're no longer offensive, and you're friendly. We see that women love gay dudes.
Well, I mean, like I said,
do you agree to that? In our society, particularly in our age group, in our generation, would you not say that?
Well, I mean, yeah. The thing is, it's the gay people. It's just the next civil rights target.
It's not even a civil rights target, though. You're born a different ethnicity. I'm sorry, I don't buy into this stuff about you're born gay.
No. What I'm saying is it's the next group that they're using to create a civil rights argument. You know, I mean,
and it's a bunk civil rights argument.
Yeah, it really doesn't even matter. I mean, that's the whole thing. But they're turning it into a civil rights issue to divide the population. We don't. I mean, listen. If you want to be gay, this is a free country.
Yes.
You can do whatever you want. If you want to worship Satan, you can do that. My problem is when they target people who are Christians and then glorify people who are gay or Satanists.
Where's my tolerance to be offensive? I was born this way. Do you think I like having these thoughts? No, I don't. The only reason I'm a comedian is because I can't stop these offensive thoughts. They happen. I was born this way. God made me this way. And every time I pray for him to soften it, I get more offensive thoughts. You know why? Because God likes offensive humor. I guarantee you.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It shouldn't even be offensive.
You know
You're
what?
making observations. That's all it is.
Everybody thinks heaven is angels sitting around singing Amazing Grace. Do you know what it's really going to be? It's a dark comedy club with George Carlin and Bill Hicks performing nightly.
Well, like I said, it's the whole thing is that it's only offensive because the media has pushed the idea that we are being offensive when we say it. You know, you're making observations about the population. If someone's stupid, you call them stupid.
Exactly.
Maybe it'll wake them up and make them be less idiotic.
That's our role.
Same thing with what's his face, the rapper that I hate so much,
Kanye West.
Kanye West. South Park puts that video out, and he realizes how egocentrical he is, and maybe we make it a little bit better.
He didn't realize. He came out and said, "Oh, yeah, they ripped on me," but I'm still a genius.
But
this one Satanist in here compares himself to Kanye West. You know how? Let me find that clip where he's like, not everybody has a genius level IQ like me and Kanye West. Let me find that when the Satanists saying that.
But that's the point. They didn't not say something about him because it was going to be offensive. They said it in the hopes that he would realize it. You know what I mean? You call things for what they are. That's part of being human,
Exactly, but I'm just I'm so over this whole deal with it's so difficult. Why would anybody choose this?
Daniels in 2009 was
convicted. Here's where they're going off saying that this one Satanist isn't a real Satanist.
A person over the age of 16.
You know what? Satan is here, and he ain't going anywhere. We have your children. We have everyone that we need to defeat you, because in the last war, there was 1/3, and we almost won. Michael, Anu, I don't care what you go by now. We will defeat you.
Part. He spouts off a bunch of stuff. I think this is the one where he calls
themselves. The protesters that say otherwise, unfortunately, they're just believing what they're told. I mean, not everyone has a genius IQ like me and Kanye West, so it's really hard for everyone else to figure it out. But I figured it out. I could tell you.
We were physically pushed out of there before we put a hand on anyone. He didn't touch nobody.
These are violent. It's at that point, I think he loses any debate he had.
He lost the debate when he started spouting off just gibberish.
We have your kids.
What is he even
saying?
We
have
That's
your
the thing.
kids.
The guy's insane. I mean, what he's saying doesn't make logical sense.
It doesn't make sense.
But yet, these are the people that we're offending when Harvard won't allow them to have their black satanic mass on their college campus. How about all the kids who are Christians are going to be offended because that's there? See, they don't even take that into consideration.
Well, Harvard was started as a Bible college. Just shows you how far it's gone. Same with Notre Dame.
Well, that's the point. It's only offensive if the radical people don't get their way. Nick O'Kelly, Drew Howard, you're listening on KineticHiFi.com, Spreaker Web Radio. It's the Weekend Sit and Spin. We'll be back to close up Hour 2.
And if you're tired of being called politically incorrect, speak out. Get in the chat box and let us know, because we're tired of it too.
That's right, right after this. And want to get into the VA situation as well. We'll be right back.
The VA is not for lovers, apparently.
Well, we'll do that. We'll
not
do that
lovers
in the third
of life.
hour. We'll do that in the third hour. Maybe we can close up second hour with some of this climate talk as well. All right, we'll be back.
Yo, this is Julian Reed, and when I'm in South Carolina, I stay tuned to Kinetic Hi-Fi for the best in music scene. So hear this. Gunshot of fire, bodies on the floor, cops on the block, kicking down the door, it's crazy. Whoa, it's crazy. Hey, stand your horn, being in the streets, it's all without a job. That's why no youths are out there and a rob, it's crazy. Whoa, it's crazy. And don't forget, it's Kinetic Hi-Fi, man.
Do you want to take our schools back? Are you tired of political correctness? Do you want Common Core stopped? Are you ready for teachers to be allowed to teach and discipline again? Are you sick of more and more tax dollars going into a public education system that continues to be at the bottom of the barrel nationally? Do you want more of our current tax dollars to go into the classroom? Are you tired of paying for babysitting services for preschool and kindergarten children that do not have our children ready to read and write by the first grade? If your answer is yes to these questions, you must vote for Gary Burgess during the June 10th Republican primary. He is the only candidate who has worked in schools and has turned schools around. Gary Burgess has served as a teacher, a principal, and a superintendent, and now serves as an elected official on the Anderson County Board of Education. Enough is enough. Stop the madness and vote for Gary Burgess on June 10th. Visit Gary's website at www.burgess4sc.org. Paid for by Burgess for Superintendent Campaign.
Let's be honest. Realtors are a dime a dozen. However, true real estate professionals are a rare find. You want somebody who's not only knowledgeable about the industry, but who understands on a personal level the home buying and selling process. You want somebody who knows what you want. Put down those yellow pages and throw away the refrigerator magnets. Your search for the perfect professionals is over. Personal experience is what really sets Mark and Patricia Fuchs apart. Respected and revered agents with Keller Williams Realty, Mark and Patricia Fuchs provide their clients with a courteous, professional, and personalized experience. Whether you're buying, selling, or just browsing, go ahead and call Mark and Patricia Fuchs at 843-425-0953. 843-425-0953. Or visit their website at markandpatriciafuchs.com. That's Mark and Patricia Fuchs, FUCHS.com.
Yeah, that's right. It's what happens when you cross bad with good. You're listening to KineticHiFi.com. It's Bud.
Closing up the rush hour, I just saw this talking about dumbing down the population and all the drugs in the water and this kind of thing. There's a report that came out earlier in the week. More than 10,000 toddlers are now being medicated in this country for ADHD. Did you hear about this?
It's not ADHD. It's called being a kid.
I mean, but seriously, there's a doctor on this report. It's coming out of CBS Boston. Quote, developmentally, you're supposed to be scattered and disorganized as a toddler. Mm-hmm. That's Nancy Rappaport, child psychologist at Cambridge. She doesn't treat children under 6 with medication, and certainly not under 4, she says. She says under 6 years old, quote, you give a child a medication, they are exquisitely sensitive to medication, so they may be more likely to have irritability, trouble sleeping. You're not addressing the difficulty of a child concentrating.
Well, I mean, I think South Park in, what was it, season 3, 2 or 3, I think they really said the reason why we need all kids to be medicated. It's because we got to ensure that Phil Collins will have fans. Classic episode. Which one? Can't even think of the name of the episode now. It wasn't Chevy. It was
no, I'm not sure.
Timmy 2000 was the one. Yeah, it was Timmy 2000. It's the one where Timmy's
right.
Introduced because he's the lead singer of Timmy and the Underworld.
I don't understand why all these children in the world won't want to listen to my music anymore. No, but, I mean, that's alarming. 10,000 toddlers? What kind of parent? I mean, talk about, you hear Melissa Harris Perry saying it's the community's responsibility, but the parents are almost proving her right by not taking responsibility and giving their kids medication at, 0 and 1 years old? This is crazy.
It's because they don't want kids. They don't want actual real-life kids. They want baby dolls that they can play with when they want to and put on the shelf and will be entertained with their little Einstein DVDs and their iPads. And it's sickening the way that we're turning into a Wall-E generation because of the medication, because of technology. Every day at work, I see people, instead of talking to their kids over dinner, they're sitting there on their phones. They're sitting there watching their iPads, watching their tablets. Let's get a moment of zen here, Ian. Oh, yeah. Nothing like a little Phil Collins on Saturday morning. And I did not take Ritalin this morning, folks. Just want to clarify.
The Saturday morning Phil Collins spin.
It doesn't have a ring to it. Does not have a ring to it.
No, it doesn't.
But we did need to get into our moment of Zen for Obama, Nick. Do you think we need to get into that?
Yeah, well, I mean,
You need to be reminded that on a Saturday morning, everything really is awesome.
Well, like I said, it's hard to talk about global warming in Chicago, Obama says. But as long as you'll let me pass my legislation.
And our Lord and Savior, Barack Obama.
He is our Lord and Savior, according to Jamie Foxx. Not mine, that's Jamie Foxx's.
President Barack Obama. Barack Obama, thank you for doing everything and all the kind stuff. Thank you for all the stuff that you helped us with. Thank you for taking the courage and responsibility for everything you have done for us. And God has gave you a special power. And you are going to handle it with just...
It's awesome to win and it's awesome to lose. I saw earlier in the week, speaking of that, a note to teachers from a school that was about to have a athletics day. So they had competition. You probably had those. Field day, we used to call it. And the school sent home a note to all the parents that said, the point of the field day is not to be competitive or athletic. Well, it's about to celebrate being together.
Hey, you got that blue ribbon for winning first place? You didn't build that.
They said, literally, and this is a quote, the urge to win should be suppressed for this day.
Somebody helped to create this
crazy, because everything is awesome. It's awesome to win and it's awesome to lose. If you won, that's great, but you don't get a trophy because the losers are just as good as you.
Exactly. And did you see the school that canceled their honors awards banquet because it was too elitist?
Yep.
Not everybody could attend. Yeah, not everybody could because not everybody's an honor student. Not everybody earned it through the year. Not everybody worked their butt off to get there. And you know what the problem with these honors nights are? It teaches people how to be real human beings. It sets you up for success for life. You make connections there. And that's the problem is people are upset because you can't make connections.
Well, see,
that's the way the world works. You achieve, you go out there, you achieve, you show that you have character. People see that, and then they want to work with you. They want to associate with you. People don't want to associate with somebody who doesn't have the mental skills to put together a McDonald's cheeseburger properly.
Well,
it's 2 buns, pickles, onions, ketchup, and mustard. It's not hard, and if you put it together wrong, you are an idiot. Plain and simple.
Well, the problem, see, the thing they take down that honors banquet, it's positive reinforcement for doing well in school, making good grades, learning, educating yourself, which is extremely important. It's important that you are given the tools to go out and be successful. Like you said, you have interactions at those banquets, but it's also, people celebrating you. Mm-hmm. For doing well.
Because you built it.
Yeah,
you did well. Build it.
And they're saying that that's discriminative against the kids who decided to be lazy and not do their homework and not learn anything and fail out of school. Look, that should not be celebrated. All right? That's the problem with society. You need to have motivation to do well in everything that you do, school included. It's an important part of your development, and people just write it off like it's not worth anything. Well, that's bullcrap. You need to be educated, and if you are too lazy to sit in a classroom when you're 15 years old and take a test, you need to be disciplined, in my opinion.
I agree, but that's why we're radicals.
But see, they've told you, you don't need to go to school because when you get out, you're going to be on welfare anyway, you're not going to have a job. Just let the government take care of you, so, honors, in that sense, honors banquets would be discriminative.
Mm-hmm. And looks like we got another... government operated mass shooting, it looks like here. Trying to take the guns. We'll get into that in the third hour. Really want to touch on that, Nick. Did you see that out of California?
Yeah, that's right. 7 dead. Yeah. And also the VA situation going on, these death panels. More information on that. Third hour next.
Getting close to the heart, the end of the rush hour.
Philosophers and plowmen, each must know his want to sow a new mentality, closer to the heart. Yes, closer to the
heart. Yeah. Do you remember eating spaghetti while watching Murder, She Wrote with your mom? It's like that. KineticHiFi.com Community Radio. Bringing back that warm, fuzzy feeling. Hey, Tom.
Yeah, hey.
Hey, why is the computer so slow?
Internet connection?
Can't be the internet connection. We pay like $300 a month for that.
Holy chestnuts.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, I know.
Yeah.
So it must be. Let's look around here for a second.
All right.
Yeah. You know what?
What?
Where's this wire go?
That wire?
That wire.
I don't know. It looks new.
It does kind of look new, but then there's like 18 wires down there. Let's try plugging it in over here. What do you say?
No, not there. No, right here.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Are you sure, Tom?
Positive. Plug it in.
All right, let's try that out.
Okay.
Don't be that guy. Instead, put your trust in ITSimplified.com. Cloud computing, data center servers, network management, Web 2.0, SQL, scalable architectures, programming, tech infrastructure, security, and anything else you shouldn't bother trying to figure out. Call 843-376-1991. That's 843-376-1991. ITSimplified.com. That's IT-simplified.com. Solutions simplified.
For America's wounded warriors, sometimes coming home can be a battle in itself. Every one of them needs our support to meet the challenges they face every day. The USO provides Americans a way to offer that support to our wounded warriors and their families. Join us. Visit USO.org to learn how you can make a difference in their lives. The USO, until everyone comes home.
Every day is a lovely day. Your Kinetic Hi-Fi, yeah. That's right, baby. You're listening to KineticHiFi.com. It's
It's so good loving somebody, somebody loves you back.
Country folks can survive because you can't starve us out and you can't make us run. Those wooden old boys raised on shotgun. We say grace, we say ma'am. If you ain't into that, we don't give a damn.
Welcome back. Weekend Sit and Spin.
You know, Nick, I said last week when we played this as a bumper, you, of course, out of town last week. I think it was on the Sunday morning show. We really need to take this approach, you know, from the song that if you ain't into saying grace, you ain't into saying ma'am, then we don't give a damn. We also need to take the approach that if you are into, you know, knowing all the football stats, caring about sports, burying your head in the pop culture sand, we don't give a damn. We're into liberty.
Well, that's right. I mean, this song paints a good picture of what they want to avoid.
Well, this is the anti-Agenda 21 song. They don't want you living off the land. They don't want you farming. They don't want you living back in the woods with your rifle and your shotgun and your woman and your dog. Mm-hmm. You know, they want you, if you're out there in the land, in the wilderness, they want you being Brokeback Mountain.
You know, I've been watching through some of the Star Trek series, the ones I can find online, And Deep Space Nine, there is a lot of... It's an allegory for government, for big government, for federalization, for militarization. That's what the whole thing is. New World Order. And there was an episode of Deep Space Nine the other day where they go down to this planet and they're trying to drill the planet, but the only way they can do that, basically fracking kind of a situation, the only way they can do that is if they get this one guy who's left on the land, who's been there for hundreds of years or 100 years or whatever it is. He's an old man, and he farms, and he does all this stuff, and they actually send the Federation people, which they're military, down to get this guy off the land so they can make this deal with the Federation to frack the planet. And the guy says, I'm not leaving. Look, you can do whatever you want. And they're telling the guy, look, you're going to die when we start drilling, and we're drilling whether you like it or not. You got to come with us. He says, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here. I've been here all my life. In the end of it, they burn his house down so that they can take him with them.
Waco.
And I'm like, I mean, it's mind-boggling to see this kind of thing coming from the mid-'90s. And now we see it actually being played out in, it was almost ahead of its time, but there's the predictive programming. Look, you don't want to get off your land, we're going to burn your house down.
And that was the thing. They tried it in the 90s with Ruby Ridge, with Waco. People were still standing up to it then. We weren't domesticated by the GMO slop that's being fed to us. We weren't neutered by the estrogen mimickers and the plastic in the waters. We weren't a neutered down, domesticated farm pig society. We still had a little bit of wild boar in us. And now we're losing that.
And that's why we get so upset about the land rights issue with Bundy. I had someone the other day basically trying on Facebook to call me saying that I was stupid, that I didn't understand anything, saying that I was a conspiracy theorist. And the way they were going to label me as a conspiracy theorist was not by calling me that, but rather by asking one question. They said, hey, I've got one question for you. Do you see Bundy as a freeloader or a patriot? And, I said, well, I really appreciate your attempt to label me with that, but it's not about Bundy. It has nothing to do with him. It has to do, well, it does, but it has to do with the bigger picture of the government running farmers off of land. And now this week, we read it earlier in the episode today, the beef price, the feds themselves, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, are coming out warning about the shock, quote-unquote, sticker prices on your beef. It's a direct relation, but they want you to believe it's because of drought in Texas and so on. No, it's because they've run all the U.S. farmers off their land, trying to centralize the federal land and move all of that production to corporate farms, which don't even control a large portion of what feeds our entire country. So, of course, the prices are going to rise when you ship in, supplement your meat supply from other countries and so on and so forth. But like I said, that's really what it is, and I do like that song for those reasons. We wanted to get into the shooting here. This new mass murder shooting in UC Santa Barbara happened just today. NBC Los Angeles is where I'm...
early morning hours.
Yeah, looking at it, at least 7 dead in East La Vista mass murder near UC Santa Barbara.
Yeah, and they're saying it was done by Elliot Roger, 22, who went on a shooting rampage, apparently after tweeting out in April and posting videos about how he was upset about being rebuked by women. Apparently had social issues and claims he was a 22-year-old virgin that promised retribution and punishment, and said he planned to enter the hottest sorority on Southern California Santa Barbara campus and slaughter the girls inside. So... The way that they've got all this media ready to roll out on it is what makes me think that this was another staged event, kind of like the Naval Yard shooting. Look, I'm not saying the shooting didn't happen. It probably happened. People are dead. It's a sad, tragic event. But the way that they have the rollout here, with what they're pushing it on, a 22-year-old kid that was antagonized. We see this time and time again. I guarantee it's going to come out that he was on psychotropic drugs. That's going to be the next thing we're going to see, is he was taking medication for his depression from being rebuked by society. And it's just too convenient. It's the narrative we see fit time and time again. And we see California is pushing anti-gun rights. They couldn't get the votes to take the guns there in California, to limit the magazine sizes and things like that. All the bills that they've been trying to pass, unlike Connecticut and New York, they didn't pass in California. So I think this is another pre-planned event to try to take gun rights.
Yeah, and just to kind of recap exactly what happened here, it turns out it was Friday night when the gunfire erupted, evidently at 9:30 p.m. 9, of course, that would have been 12:30 a.m. here on the East
yeah.
Coast. 9 crime scene locations were confirmed. 9. Approximately 6 minutes after the initial call was received from 9/11, the suspect shot at responding deputies, and deputies returned gunfire. He fled in his vehicle, encountered another deputy, exchanged gunfire, fled again. The suspect eventually crashed into a parked vehicles, and when the deputies approached, evidently he was dead from a gunshot wound. So, of course, he ran into barricades of people, it seems like, shooting at him. So, I don't know. This is, yeah. They'll definitely use this to take our guns.
and yeah, the only 2 tweets on his Twitter account were posted on April 19th and 20th. Honestly, you know what this looks like? It looks like they got delayed because everybody was looking at the dates. Look, it's around the 20th of April. It's always when you see Columbine, when you see Oklahoma City, when you saw Waco. That's their favorite time to work. All the videos went up then. It looks like they delayed it for a month.
Very interesting.
Yeah, 2 tweets from this kid's account, and they both were about this. The only video posted to his YouTube was the one where he threatened to kill everybody. This has government PSYOP written all over it.
Yeah, there is a YouTube video here. Is that him
talking?
Yes,
that's the YouTube video where he's saying that he wants retribution. He's going to enter the sorority and kill all the blonde quote-unquote sluts.
Oh, I see
in
it
there.
here. I'll take great pleasure in slaughtering all of you, he says. You'll finally see that I am, in truth, the superior one to the true alpha male. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it says that he was loneliness, rejection, and unfulfilled desires, and blamed women for preferring obnoxious brutes to him, the supreme gentleman. So he had what's classically labeled as nice guy syndrome, and which that's part of the problem with our culture is we have the lamestream media telling women that they don't want real men, that they want these, like you just said, douchebags out there, and the ones that will treat them like crap. That's love. Why do women stick with abusive relationships? Why do they stay in there? Why do they stick with people that treat them like crap?
Well, I don't know. I really don't know.
And in our culture, thanks to things like Lifetime, thanks to this indoctrination by the lamestream media, it has made social interactions, and a lot of it's due to social media, it's made social interactions so complicated and so convoluted. And
social media definitely plays a big role in that because people no longer have the confidence to approach anyone and talk to anyone. No. That is a skill that you develop as a child, to learn to talk to people. Yep. And it's becoming increasingly difficult because they're fighting us with social media. They're fighting your ability to interact at all.
They're feminizing men in this country. They're doing that, and they're pushing away any values. They're showing people through the lamestream media that anything of substance isn't worth being around.
Look at, and listen. I don't judge anyone because I take for granted that I have a certain comfort with it, but a lot of people have serious issues with public speaking. Mm-hmm. And like I said, for me, growing up, it's always been public has never bothered me. In fact, I get more nervous the less people there are. But some people just absolutely cannot do it, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying I feel like that's getting worse with the generations. I don't think that was a problem 100 years ago where people couldn't get in front of a public and speak. But that's the social engineering that you see happening, where they drive you in your house, they sit you in front of a television, they let the Hollywood pedestal icons tell you what kind of life to live and how great it is to be, them, basically.
Yeah, they alienate you.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what a horrifying thing here. He's 22 years old. I'm still a virgin. I've never kissed a girl. I mean, see, that's the sexualization of society. Mm-hmm. That he's 22 and he thinks because he's never kissed a girl, he's got to go on a rampage and kill everybody. I mean, this is crazy. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You're a virgin? Great. You don't have a disease. That's nice. Why don't you wait a couple of years, meet a good girl, and get married? You know what I mean? But he probably had too much of an issue to connect with anyone anyway. But see, this is the problem. I wonder what kind of medication he was on. I wonder what kind of family life he had. Does he have a single mom? Single dad? Parents both dead? Are they both? Did they sell him into adoption? Did he get raised by child CPS in a foster home? These are the questions I'd like to know. to determine what's going on with his psyche here.
He's supposedly a movie producer's son. They're saying that they believe him to be the son of one of the producers of the Hunger Games.
I see this picture of him on the red carpet.
Yeah, that one clearly looks photoshopped. I mean, he's on a red carpet with everybody dressed nice in tuxedos and stuff, and he's wearing a flannel shirt.
Yeah.
Seems a little out of place.
I don't think so.
The way it's overlaid there, that clearly looks like a Photoshop picture to me. But I don't know. There's a lot of things about it. Like I said, the rollout, the way that this is just too convenient. They've got the story set up, but everything posted, the videos were over a month ago.
Yeah, it's strange. I'm sure we'll still find out more about it.
Here's something interesting. We've seen this time and time again where, we saw in Jersey with the lady that wrote the derogatory slur on the receipt and tried to pass it off, that customer left it. We've seen racial slurs, the same thing has been done. There's actually a man now that's accused of writing a racial slur on a receipt given to a black Red Lobster waitress. He's suing the restaurant and the waitress after it was came out that the handwriting wasn't his. It was actually the waitress's. She did it to try to make a viral video. Waitress Christina Jenkins posted the picture of the check she received last month with none blank N-word blank written on the tip line. And the customer says he didn't write it. Handwriting forensics experts have said there was no connection to the handwriting between him and was on the check. And so now he's filed a $1 million lawsuit against both Jenkins and Red Lobster.
Well, he should. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's time to quit being bullied by this. In the suit filed in Williamson County Circuit Court, he claims Jenkins slandered him by misusing his personal information, that Red Lobster's willful and malicious omissions to the act failed to prevent Jenkins from using his name and information to gain publicity and money.
Like anybody just goes into a restaurant and writes that kind of thing. I mean, that should throw up a red flag immediately. You know, I mean, there's just not that many people out there that would go into a restaurant and write something like that. For what reason? What reason are you going to do that? I'm sure that there are some wackos out there that would do it. But, you know, when it happens, why not investigate? Why not try to find out? You know, and it's too bad that this guy had to go to this length to clear his own name from Red Lobster. Of all places. So anyway, that's crazy. But it's going to continue to happen, Drew. It's going to get worse and worse. People are being taught that racism is cool. You know, talking about how bad it is to be a racist is what makes you a good member of society. When you find someone who's racist and bring them down, you know.
Yep.
If you can record someone because they're making racist comments and give it out to the media, then you're a patriot. Janet Napolitano says it. If you see something, say something, right?
Yep. Or just make it up.
That's right. So, there is that. I want to get into this VA situation, although I was going to use our long segment for that. We've got a lot of interesting developments with it.
We're up against the long segment, so we can go, or we're up against the break, so we can go to the long segment.
So let's do that. We'll put in the long segment there. Flashbacks from 2008, but even further back than that Obama may have known about these waiting times, about the scandals. There's more of those coming out from the Miami VA. And like I said, just remembering the platform that he ran on, basically, to not only reform healthcare, but to allow the VA to be the model of that new utopian healthcare, which he has now pushed on us. That's right.
Of course, this is what you expect to see out of Agenda 21 in death care.
I just wonder, all those naysayers that said there's no death panels, there's not going to be any death panels. What do they call this?
Bioethics boards. It's not technically a death panel. It doesn't carry that name.
All right, so this is the Weekend Sit and Spin. You're in hour number 3. We're going to talk about the VA next. And stick around. There's more to come. Nick O'Kelly, Drew Howard, KineticHiFi.com studios. Weekend Sit and Spin. We'll be right back.
Cross saucy with awesome. That's right, you're listening to KineticHiFi.com, baby. It's awesome.
Your business not going right? Don't know how to advertise? Come holler at your boys right here at Signs to See. We specialize in all your advertising needs. You need t-shirts, business cards, signs, banners. We got it all. Car magnets, decals, flyers. We got it all for you right here at Signs to See. Conveniently located at 937 Wapo Road, Suite 2B. You can also call us at 843-608-0722. You got a family reunion, you got a class reunion, and don't know how to get your t-shirts done? Well, call Signs to See. Signs to See is conveniently located at 937 Wapo Road, Suite 2B. Also, you can call us 843-608-0722. Or you can log on, SignsToSee.com. And I do all my business with Signs to See.
It's a fact. Nearly 80% of us will have back pain at some point in our lives. And for some of us, it can be debilitating. If you live in the Charleston, South Carolina area and have any kind of back issue, Peninsula Chiropractic is your answer. Peninsula Chiropractic has a reputation built on great customer service and the results most chiropractors can't deliver. One patient and local firefighter says, I have been a patient with Peninsula Chiropractic for nearly 10 years. Dr. Ty and Dr. Rob have treated me with the utmost skill, respect, and kindness as a person and a patient. I feel extremely confident with their skills and have recommended Peninsula Chiropractic to numerous people, not to mention the relaxed atmosphere and genuine caring staff that is Peninsula Chiropractic. Don't spend another day in pain. Call Peninsula Chiropractic today at 843-723-6475. That's 723-6475. Or visit the office, conveniently located within the Sergeant Jasper Building downtown at 310 Broad Street, number 2, Charleston, South Carolina.
For the third year in a row, Condé Nast Traveler is named Charleston, South Carolina, the world's best city. Now, a radio station that brings Charleston to the rest of the world. You're listening to KineticHiFi.com.
Yo, this is Junior Reed, and when I'm in South Carolina, I stay tuned to Kinetic Hi-Fi for the best in music scene. So hear this. Gunshot of fire, bodies on the floor, cops on the block, kicking down the door, it's crazy. Whoa, it's crazy. Hey, stand your horn, being in the streets, it's all without a job. That's why no youths are out there and a rob, it's crazy. Whoa, it's crazy. And don't forget, it's Kinetic Hi-Fi, man, see?
Do you remember eating spaghetti while watching Murder, She Wrote with your mom? It's like that. KineticHiFi.com Community Radio. Bringing back that warm, fuzzy feeling.
Blood on my blade. The bastards hung me in the spring of 25, but I am still alive.
I was a sailor. Welcome in as the weekend sentence spin. Nick O'Kelly, Drew Howard here. Welcome back to the KineticHiFi.com studios. It's lovely May 24th morning here in Charleston. It's going to be beautiful. It's been warm all week. It's been lovely.
Oh, it's been hot. Summer's here.
I'm loving it.
Yesterday.
Bring it on, baby. I'll take the heat over cold any time. I'd like it to be 100 degrees in Charleston all year round. I like being able to walk out and start sweating immediately. It's my favorite. Seriously, I'm not kidding.
Well, you're getting plenty of that this
because
summer.
The thing is, you know that you're staying young that way. You know, it's helping you stay healthy. You're sweating out the toxins. That's why I moved to the South, so that I could be in the heat. And this past winter was just really upsetting me, all this global warming happening. So we're back to norm here in Charleston.
Yeah, it's very, very nice out there. Good temperatures, good weather. And we've went 2 hours and 23 minutes now, Nick, and we haven't got any plugs in. So let's go ahead and start with that. First off, I want to say tonight I will be appearing out at Pug's Tavern, the former Firewater Grill out in Somerville. with Cooter Douglas from up in Myrtle Beach. You know, Cooter Douglas, big time up there. He's been running the Comedy Cabana for the last 20 years or so. Myrtle Beach, good comedian. Used to have a radio show up there. Really funny guy. I've performed with him before. So looking forward to that. If you're in the Somerville area, you should get out to Pug's Tavern tonight, 9:30. Showtime. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, very good. You'll have to tell me how it is, too, because like we were talking about on the way up here, I liked Firewater. So I'm interested to see what they did. Did they change the menu? Just the look of it? I mean, is it a whole new thing? So anyway, very exciting. Usually have a pretty good crowd for this show that you guys that they do. You have opened for it several times.
Yes. Yep.
So and that's Suburban Myth you're hearing here. We don't have too many details to give out just yet, but one is the new album, Welcome If Only, will come out next month.
And not to mention, we're 6 days away from you guys' big show at South End Brewery on May 30th. How can you forget that, Nick? Come
May
on.
30th, this Friday night. South End, back there again for 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Got a couple of shows coming up next month as well at the Mill and the Sparrow. Going to be playing with some great bands. So you can go to suburbanmythmusic.com to keep updated on all of that. ReverbNation.com/suburbanmyth. And also Facebook.com. Search for Suburban Myth Music. Also, want to kind of, real quick, just, give a weekend sit and spend thank you and love sent out from us to our veterans. It is Memorial Day weekend, after all. Monday is Memorial Day. And, of course, it's just almost nerve-wracking that you see all of the posts on Facebook that says, all the veterans who are dead aren't lying on a beach this weekend. Let's remember what Memorial Day weekend is all about. And, here's the thing. I get it. I get that. I understand what you're trying to go for. But how about we fix all of the problems with the VA for the Veterans Day, or for veterans on Memorial Day? How about we get rid of the tyranny in this country for the veterans who fought and died for us to live our way of life that now the globalists and elitists are trying to steal from us on Memorial Day? How about we remember them in that way and honor them by continuing the fight against tyranny and for our constitutional republic, rather than sitting back and saying, hey, why don't you guys remember Memorial Day instead of going to the beach? That's my problem.
Well, and we're having a great event this weekend. It is, of course, the annual March Against Monsanto today, to say we're tired of GMOs. We're tired of you not labeling our food. You're giving us these crap frankenfoods that are killing us, causing digestive issues, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, you name it. It's literally blowing up our stomach. Mm-hmm. You're destroying natural crops of food with your cross-pollinations, and we're tired of it. And I'm so sick. Because I saw a lot of people, like you just mentioned today, a lot of people on Facebook saying, now's not the time to come after Monsanto. We need to remember our vets.
It's just crap.
And yet the vets are dying, being put on kill lists at the VA hospitals, and nobody cares. Obama's sitting out there sending his minions to say, this isn't a controversy. This is all just a Republican conspiracy to take me down because they're racist.
Our veterans were defending the homeland, and Monsanto is attacking the homeland. This is the point. People don't get it. They don't realize that this is a corporate takeover, along with social engineering and eugenics, to bring the entire system down. The military has become nothing more than the military arm of the UN, thanks to Obama.
Rag Mall downtown at Ann Meeting Street is the location for today's Charleston rally, March Against Monsanto rally. It started at 11, so about 30 minutes ago. Speakers are going to kick up about 12. It's going to 3 p.m. this afternoon. So get downtown, show your support. It's time we stand up and we say, enough's enough. It's GMO-free. We're taking the low-country foods back here.
And the Low Country, one of the
places.
I
can't eat corn anymore, and I love corn, but I don't eat corn anymore because it's GMO. We've been sold that we need to eat soy. Soy is one of the major reasons we're getting a feminization of the men in our society, is because soy boosts your estrogen levels. Then you throw in the estrogen mimickers and the plastics. A soy-based diet's leading to breast cancers and ovarian cancers in women.
Charleston has plenty of, is one of the few places, well, I don't want to, few is relative, but places that has plenty of farmers markets around, local farmers, and we need to support that. That's one thing I really do like about Somerville, is that there is a very large support every Saturday for the farmers market. Everybody comes out, the whole community in droves, and that's the way it should be. We should be able to rely on local farmers. I watched Inside Chipotle the other day, And
Chipotle out. I remember the South Park.
Yeah. No, but did you know
that's about GMOs? That's the reason why that happened in South Park, and they need the Chipotle out.
Did you know though that Chipotle, when they open individual stores, they actually buy all their veggies from the local farmers market?
Well, that's good.
And they have also, like Chick-fil-A, taken the stand that they do not buy any industrial beef or chicken.
That's good.
That's fantastic.
They also don't allow guns in their store, which is a problem.
And there's other issues there. But see, this is the thing. Little steps, to bring down the idea that corporate farming is the way to go. I saw a great article the other day. We were mentioning this. I can't remember. It was on InfoWars. I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Kit Daniels. No. It was Michael Snyder talking about the fact that a lot of these GMO crops are designed, socially engineered, or it's not socially engineered to resist heavy metals. Mm-hmm. Which are being
the chemtrails,
right? Right. So being sprayed into the atmosphere with the chemtrailing. So are they developing a solution to their own induced problem? And I think it's a good question to ask. I mean, they start chemtrailing, putting all these metals to basically force the public to have to accept crops that can grow in an atmosphere full of metals, when the public itself is unaware in general of the chemtrailing efforts. We see it on a weekly basis here in Charleston.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's always chemtrails in the sky. And that's what they're doing, is they're terraforming the earth to where natural produce won't grow.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So just something interesting to keep in mind.
They're killing the honeybees, so that way if you don't get self-pollinating plants, you won't be able to grow them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, some of the things that they are developing in these GMO-engineered crops it's out of this world. You're like, why would you ever need to? And why would you need
people
that?
Don't care. They're just eating away. They're happy they can go get their McSanto Donalds and
15% beef. 15% beef at McDonald's. The rest is chemically induced synthetics, plastics, all of this.
Like fibers, you name it.
Unbelievable. And that's what it is.
We're poisoning ourselves, people. We are poisoning ourselves with the food and water. And it's time we take it's time we make a change. We take a stand and we say enough's enough. Give me natural. Give me organic. It tastes better. I'm so happy summer's getting here because I actually got to have some. It's not local. It's from in the Southwest, somewhere where it's growing because it's been warmer. But we got USA watermelons coming out now, fresh. I got some nice big slices the other day at Food Line of it, and I can't wait to get some fresh local watermelons. But starting to see those hit the shelves.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
It's one of my favorite fruits.
Mm-hmm. And that's another reason why I hate Piggly Wiggly shut down, because that was also a local store, now been bought out by Bilo.
Which is still local. I mean, it's out of Greenville. So.
It is, but
it's still out of South Carolina.
How much more are they going to buy up? How big are they going to get? How quick? I mean, they've already acquired Piggly Wiggly.
And that's the danger with what you're seeing with the super Targets, the super Walmarts, particularly taking over the grocery style. Is you used to have... They were still corporation grocery stores, but they were local. You had your Food Cities in Virginia and Tennessee, your Food Lines in North and South Carolina, the Piggly Wigglies, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, through there. And then when you got up north, it was your Krogers, your Myers, your Safeways, that kind of stuff.
It's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Because they're big enough to cover a large enough district so
it's
that
regional.
Plenty of farmers are included.
Corporations. And regional corporations aren't bad. It's when you get to these global corporations that are trying to consolidate all of their power and pushing anti-American, anti-gun, anti-property values, anti-liberty agendas like Agenda 21.
And see, that's the political side of it, but there's also the economical side that you have regional corporations which pay state taxes, but then you have multinational corporations which are tax exempt. So when you break it down,
tax money to build their stores like Walmart.
They're not refunding the economy that they're sucking off of. That's the problem. People in the economy are spending out to this corporation who isn't funneling anything back to the community.
Exactly, and it's the nice old man Warren Buffett eating his ice cream cone, paying less in taxes than a secretary does.
Right. That's the real issue. And like I said, it's not a problem to have a regional corporation grocery store, because then you are including a good enough, large enough selection of farmers that there's competition, so you have better quality, and you're also giving a better way of life to a group of farmers rather than just one or two. But see, they have centralized farming into the Midwest, which, again, you see all these major corporations are the ones that are running these farms like Monsanto. Monsanto, I mean, you know, these major corporations don't need to have their hands in so many different areas of the economy. That's the whole point of a free market, so that you can have competition, people isolated to certain areas where they're best at producing those products. And it's basically the system is turned upside down right now, thanks to Walmart. Walmart is a big reason why we're having this issue.
Oh, absolutely. They're destroying all kinds of business out there in the name of global mass corporations. And what is it leading to? It's leading to a dumbed-down, overweight society. I mean, South Park, again, have really captured Walmart on a couple of different levels. The one where the town first gets the Walmart, and it's a Matrix parody type deal. That one was a great one, showing you the dangers of Walmart and why you need to support small business Main Street. And then also in the Honey Boo Boo episode, when it's showing the people riding around on their mobility scooters in Walmart, getting their cotton candy Oreos.
Right.
And yeah, I do want to get one more quick plug in here before we move on, Nick. Coming up June 6th and 7th, so a couple weeks away, 2 weeks away now, will be the annual 2014 Sweetgrass Cultural Arts Festival in Mount Pleasant at Waterfront Park. Tickets are on sale for $50 in advance, $60 at the door. This is from 6 to 10 p.m. on June 6th and noon to 7 p.m. on June 7th. They are going to have Gullah Cuisine chefs, entertainment by storytellers, saxophonist, and a secret band, passing on the traditional ceremony of how to make sweetgrass baskets and roses and flowers and things like that, vases, hats, fashion show, and a silent auction. So be sure to get over to Mount Pleasant and enjoy some classic Gullah heritage.
Oh, very good. Very good. Gullah Island.
Well, that was set down here along the Low Country Coast.
They actually filmed at the market quite a few times.
And I wanted to say this, too. If you have kids out there, we've talked about Common Core and the destruction of what it's really doing to dumb down your children, to indoctrinate them in a politically correct society of this Agenda 21. I did find out the other day that it's kind of evolved, if you will, but Reading Rainbow is back as an app. It's a subscription-based app, but they change out the books on there. They have the field trip videos, classic ones and new ones.
What?
So, yeah, if you're a parent out there, you're looking for good educational values, definitely check out the Reading Rainbow app. I was a big fan of Reading Rainbow back in the day. I know Nick was a big fan of Reading Rainbow.
Heck yeah. I'm going to go download it myself.
Well, you have to pay for it, Nick. So.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's what I was saying. If you have a kid, maybe
we'll think about it. Yeah. Is it LeVar Burton?
Yes.
It is.
Yes, it's
LeVar Burton on here.
Yep,
Crazy.
Still LeVar Burton. He's been doing it for 25 years, unfortunately. And I saw a great video with him talking about what happened, why it was taken off the air, why they don't show it. And it really goes back to No Child Left Behind, and that they started getting away from reading for fun. And I think that's where you see a lot of problems in our society. You know, when you don't tell kids to read and tell them to explore their mind and to think. Instead, you'd rather put them on a drug to keep them from thinking as a toddler.
I tell you what, if I was a parent right now, I would allow my kids to watch old Schoolhouse Rock, old Looney Tunes, old Sesame Street, Reading Rainbow. There was some great programming when I was growing up for kids that have all been taken off the air. Well, I mean, some of them ran their course, but nevertheless, that type of programming has been taken off the air and replaced with bright lights, flashing images, fun sounds, and baby talk.
Well,
and I mean, it's crazy.
Think about how the catchphrase from Reading Rainbow just does not fit in this Obama-nation that we're in. Abomination, yeah. That we're in right now, because this is totally against, as Jamie Foxx says, our Lord and Savior, with the words that LeVar Burton left you with, every week, every time he did a book, the words he left you with. Are you ever going to hear Obama say this?
Here's some other books that you might like, but you don't have to take my word for it.
Yeah.
Exactly. You ever going to hear Obama say, but you don't have to take my word for it. Check it out yourself.
Yeah.
Read the book. No, instead he's going to be like, hey, you didn't read the book. You didn't listen to the audio version of the book.
Yeah, a book you read yesterday, you didn't read that.
Just take the Cliff Notes here.
Someone else read that to you.
Yeah.
We actually went into your head and read you the book. Mm-hmm. You just didn't know it.
Hey, Maurice Sendak, you didn't write and illustrate where the wild things are.
Yeah.
Somebody else did that.
Somebody
along the way came up with a watercolor technique that you used to make it look like there are alien plants on the ground with ears. And to make one of the wild things look like George Wendt.
That's right.
Kids like George Wendt.
That's right. Dr. Seuss, you didn't write all those awesome kids' books. You know?
And folks, check it out. If you haven't listened to it, Christopher Walken reading Where the Wild Things Are. It's hilarious. It's great. Compares the Wild Things to George Wendt.
He has a couple of stories that he reads, and there's several that, I mean, they're just, he's the man. All right, well, Washington Examiner, I want to get to this before we run out of time. Nancy Pelosi blames George W. Bush for Veterans Affairs scandal.
Of course, when in doubt, blame Bush.
I mean, this is unbelievable. Pelosi took a shot, it says in the Washington Examiner, at Bush while saying that the scandal is a high priority for Obama. Quote, he sees the ramifications of some seeds that were sown a long time ago. When you have 2 wars over a long period of time and many, many more millions of veterans, she told reporters, and so I know that he is upset about it. Well, he was told about it in 2008, so he must not be too upset. She says, maybe when we go into war, we should be thinking about it. Listen to this. Listen to the irony of this statement. Nancy Pelosi says, quote, maybe when we go into war, we should be thinking about its consequences. But maybe it wasn't. And so we go in a war with Afghanistan, leave Afghanistan for Iraq with unfinished business in Afghanistan. 10 years later, we have all these additional veterans. In the past 5 years, 2 million more veterans needing benefits from the VA. That's a huge, huge increase. But, Drew, the spending, okay, number one, they're trying to push us in another war without thinking of the consequences.
Oh, they want us to go into Syria.
So there's that. But also, we find out that the spending at the VA has not decreased.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, they're still spending all kinds of federal money. I'm trying to pull it up here. Spending money in the VA. I'm writing that into Google. Let's see what comes up. Close to $500 million. This is out of freebeacon.com. First thing I pulled up. VA spends close to $500 million on a conference room, office makeovers under Obama. This upcoming fiscal year, Obama requested a 3% increase for the Veterans Affairs budget. Obama's FY 2015 budget request points out that he has increased the VA discretionary budget by 35.2% since 2009. They have increased their budget at the VA by almost 40% since 2009, but we can't attend to the veterans' needs? I mean, we're talking billions of taxpayer money. Look, the VA has spent a total of $489 million to upgrade conference rooms, buy draperies, and purchase new office furniture during the past 4.5 years. Those are the line items. And you're telling me that this is a high priority for Obama and we got to blame Bush?
Well, I mean, we didn't even know there was a VA scandal going on until the media told us.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you were saying earlier. You know, you had to... the media has to come out with it before Jay Carney knows what's going on, which that's true.
Which, considering his brother's the media, he should be getting a call, you'd think. Hey, we got a little advanced knowledge coming here.
WND.com is the one that put out today, Obama 2008, VA will be the leader of healthcare reform. That's what he said. And the document labeled the Obama-Biden plan from the office of the president-elect in 2008 makes a series of promises to veterans, including fix the benefits bureaucracy, hire additional claims workers, improve training and accountability so the VA benefit decisions are rated fairly and consistently. Number 2, strengthen VA care, make the VA a leader of national health care reform. Number 3, fully fund VA medical care. Well, they fully funded the facility.
Number 4, always believe in the VA. The VA has our best interest at heart. The VA chooses who stays and who goes.
I mean, this is unreal. And Miami VA has been coming out all week with just new headline after new headline of patient
it's drug
deaths.
dealing, and there's no oversight in the VA pharmacies. They're going in basically taking all the pills. It's Dr. House running wild in there, and it's our whole medical industrial complex out there right now. The medical system needs a big overhaul, and it's not Obamacare it needs. It doesn't need free insurance, free health care for everybody. It needs to get the waste. It needs to get the excess spending. It needs to get these doctors and hospital administrators and people that think that they're rock stars and they want to live that lifestyle. That's not why you went to be a doctor.
I mean, look at this. In February...
if you want to drive a fast car and have a beautiful woman on your arm, you go out and you be in a rock band. You don't go out and be a doctor and try to live a rock star life while you're being a doctor.
That's right. In Miami in February, a cardiovascular surgeon at the Miami VA hospital complained to one of his superiors that patients had died, quote, because a piece of equipment that might have saved their lives was left in a Broward warehouse, according to an email obtained by CBS 4 News. So that, to me, does not sound like we are fully funding medical care in VA hospitals. And this is just one headline.
Well, I've got a article out of CBS Local in Dallas-Fort Worth, Nick, that doctors are now suggesting to cut down on being sick, to help you out, instead of better medical care, instead of eating healthier, exercising a little bit more, following regimens that, should be out there, instead of living a sedentary life, eating junk food and watching TV. Instead of telling you that, to cut down on being sick, maybe you shouldn't shake hands. Maybe you should fist bump.
Yeah.
You want to avoid being sick? Let's bro out.
The bro down is over. Let's bro out. Bro out. Party people.
Fist bump.
Oh, man,
out.
I'm so glad we put our differences aside.
Look, I had to do it, Derek Daisy. That was for you, buddy. Another South Park reference.
Yes. Well, I mean, like I said, it's just Washington Times is reporting Louisiana VA staff falsified documents. Nurse claimed racial element.
Of course. Of course. You don't like something, it's racist. Everything is racist. It shouldn't be everything is awesome. It should be everything is racist.
That's right.
Except for Al Sharpton. Nick, we're running out of time. Let's skip the last break here, but I did want to mention this one because we mentioned it earlier. Did you see where Al Sharpton came out this week and said that he wasn't really being racist when he called Jews diamond merchants?
Yeah, right.
It was only talking about one in particular. And the guy, well, he owned a jewelry store, but they didn't actually sell diamonds there, I think. So still wrong, but still a racial slur. If he doesn't sell diamonds, he can't be a diamond merchant, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, all of these people that are promoting the racial agenda are the ones themselves who are the racists.
Yep. He accused Freddy's Fashion Mart owner, Fred Harari, as a white interloper for seeking to expand his business in Harlem. Same thing we saw out of Spike Lee for the gentrification of Harlem. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I got to say this again. As far as quote-unquote politically correct ethnic neighborhoods and the gentrification that's happening to them, a lot of times you're seeing trendies pay well over property values for these areas because they want them. Look at what is the most expensive property value section in North Charleston?
Well, it'd be Park Circle now.
And that is, without a doubt, one of the worst areas in North Charleston. Not Park Circle itself. They got a lot of nice gated communities. Surrounding it, it is one of the worst areas. But people are selling very, very crap houses, crap apartments in that area for huge amounts of money. Mm-hmm. I've got a friend that lives over in Park Circle. A coworker that I work with. I went and hung out with him the other night. He is in a one-bedroom studio apartment that he shares with 3 people that is almost double what we pay.
Yeah, that's insane.
Just because it's in the center of Park Circle and it's within walking distance to everything. That's how much property values are gone up. This is an apartment probably built in the 50s.
Well, I spent a year researching cheap, well, not cheap, but the best deal for an apartment in this city, and it was literally, for the amount that you got in terms of how big it was the cheapest that you could get. But our rents increased in that area.
But not as much as a lot around.
I'm paying $300 more now than I was 3 years ago when I moved in. And like I said, that is the best priced apartment in town, and it's still relatively expensive. But like you said, Park Circle being double that. I mean, mine's increased
for a one-bedroom studio. Yeah,
and I have a 2-story townhouse.
Yeah,
this guy has
what,
nothing
1,300
wrong.
square
I mean,
feet. Yeah,
he's just moved here. Yeah. He's trying to do what he can. But the
it's
point
literally
is,
it's even bigger. It's a 400 square foot coffin apartment.
Don't tell me that this is not a renter's economy. How can you do anything else? Think about how much it costs to buy a house when, people say, well, I mean, it's so much cheaper to buy a house. Yeah, if you have good credit. Half the population doesn't. Because they've been pushed into education loans that they didn't need, or they've had a default on the housing loans or whatever else it is. point is, they know people are poor and they're exploiting it in many different ways.
And then you see guys like Spike Lee and Al Sharpton, this is where I was going with that get upset when people are being paid well over their property values for it. They give us this whole deal about we need to give government money, we need to give welfare. That's the only way to help people get up. Well, when they sell off something for much higher than the value it's worth, that's giving them a better helping hand.
That's exactly right.
It's teaching them, hey, now use this money to get a store, to start a food truck, which I know it's almost impossible because we have government regulations and you have to grease the wheels. If you don't have, look, you can't start a small business in anything. You can't go out and open a consignment shop where you sell goods for other people in this country without at least conservatively $17,000 by the time you have to pay your business licenses, your fees to the state, your fees to local government, your fees to the federal government, your taxes, all that. To get it set up, conservatively, it costs about $17,000 to start a small business. I've looked into it.
And like I said, it's crazy that it is almost like the system is trying to keep you from being able to be successful.
They don't want you to be self-sufficient. They want you to be on their Agenda 21, sustainability, 200-square-foot coffin apartments, locked into cities, most of the land being off limits to people. You can't go in there. You can't grow crops. The elitists flying above us in their hovering jets and living in their massive capital cities. It's the Hunger Games.
That's right.
It is exactly the totalitarian government you see in the Hunger Games. Suzanne Collins, when she wrote it, I'm almost completely certain of this now, that when she wrote the Hunger Games, she had Agenda 21 sitting right beside her.
Sean in the chat box says he lives in a bad apartment in downtown Charleston. Pay about $1,000 a month. See, that right there, that's insane. And $1,000 a month, I mean, that's like New York City prices. But yet this is the economy that we're living in. Now, the housing market is exploding in Charleston thanks to new manufacturing. So you're lucky if you're out in the North Charleston, some of those areas, but also Somerville and Ladson, you can kind of get cheaper prices right now because there's such an influx of population.
If you're looking for somebody, we do have a sponsor here at the station, Mark and Patricia Fuchs. They're selling real estate, Daniel Island, things like that. So if you're looking, definitely check with them. They sponsor Kinetic Hi-Fi, and we thank them for it.
But certainly, this has become a out-of-control renter's economy where prices are totally inflated. And that's really what it is. It's inflation happening in this country due to derivative money being put into the economy by the Federal Reserve, by the banking system. And we talk about that basically every Saturday here on the Weekend Sit and Spin, but it's so true. And, what do we do about it, I guess is the question. Sean, I mean, you're in your apartment and you're paying the $1,000 a month. I mean, what do we as a people do about that? I mean, well, let me tell you, you get involved politically. You start pointing this stuff out to your senators and your representatives who are not doing their jobs and representing your best interests. They're selling out to the political elite. They're selling out to Obama and the White House administration and Congress that's only working to pad their wallets. We kick these people out of office and put new people in who are interested in our best interests, who can then work to bring down the Fed, to bring down the fact that our economy is based on derivatives rather than a gold standard. See, these are the things not being addressed by Obama because it's working in his best interests to be able to make deals with Saudi Arabia and be able to make deals in the Middle East. Using taxpayer money that's printed with, it's not based on anything. You see all these articles where they're shipping money over to Saudi Arabia or to Iran, or we're funding this or that, or we're buying all these weapons and shipping it over there, and it's costing billions and billions of dollars for all these programs. And you think, where are we getting the money? Well, we're getting it because the Fed has a money printer and they're just printing it off. It's not real money, and it's causing inflation here at home. Okay, so that's why it's so important that we take back over this government that is supposed to belong to us and represent our interests and has been taken over globally by globalists and elitists. We have to take that back. I think that's the only way to get rid of this inflation, which, I mean, it's expensive to live in downtown Charleston. It's probably always going to be that way. But nevertheless, I think that's way more money than what you should be having to pay, in my opinion. It's way more money than what I'm having to pay at the apartment. I'm in an apartment. I mean, I have a good job. but I can't get a good house.
And
Terrible
that's
credit.
because, Agenda 21 is trying to run out property ownership. They're limiting the way that you can do that because they don't want people owning property. They don't want you being self-sufficient. They don't want you having your own job. They don't want you having a garden to grow your own food. They want you to be completely dependent on the government. So they have obedient slaves from cradle to grave.
And like I said, the closer we get to that, look at what's happening in Russia. Look at what's happening in China. How much longer are they going to continue to keep all of these debt holdings? And they're the ones propping up the U.S. economy. They've bought all the debt. They can decide to start trading in rubles instead of the U.S. dollar, and then we're out of luck, Jack. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Seriously, that's the crash. That's where it happens. We have already set ourselves up to be destroyed. So you think that working with Russia and making friends with these people would be in our best interests rather than slandering them and trying to pressure them into bringing more people into the EU and so on. All right, we got to get out of here. You've been listening to the Weekend Sit and Spin. We've got some closing remarks that we do every Saturday that really is a mantra that we live by, I think.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes!
That's right. So party on and have a great Saturday. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Myself, Drew Howard, here in the KineticHiFi.com studios for the Sunday Morning Freedom Spin. Every
right,
Sunday
9 to 1.
now on Kinetic Hi-Fi, 9 to 1 p.m. So make sure to tune in for that. Also, we'll be back next Saturday as well, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. for the Weekend
right.
Sit and Spin. You've been listening to it.
Come out to Pug's Tavern tonight, 9:30 p.m. Cougar Douglas. It's going to be a fun show.
That's right.
And then don't miss Friday night, the 30th, down at South End Brewery, Suburban Myth.
Have a great Saturday. Nick O'Kelly, Drew Howard, KineticHiFi.com. Weekend Sit and Spin. We'll see you next time.